Hey, it's me, Leo Laporte. Time for Ask the Tech Guys. Coming up, we pay a virtual visit to CES with Father Robert Ballacer and our car guy, Sam Abuelsamid.
And I'm Micah Sargent, and I answer the question, should I use Powerline networking to get better connection in my home?
And then I'll tell you how you can get a Windows 11 license cheap. It's legal, too. Ask the Tech Guys is next.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Ask the Tech Guys with Micah Sargent and Leo Laporte. Episode 2007, recorded Sunday, January 14th, 2024. I'm in the mood for pasta. This episode of Ask the Tech Guys is brought to you by Fastmail, the leader in email privacy. For more than 20 years with Fastmail, you're making email better. I've been a Fastmail customer for more than a decade. I can vouch for it. Fastmail is always moving email forward, creating new internet standards and open source innovations that other email services are just now starting to use. Fastmail's quick settings is a great experience if you're in the Fastmail apps. It lets you choose new themes, switch between light and dark mode, change text size, generate masked email addresses, autosave contacts, set default reminders, and more, all without leaving your email interface. Fastmail works on your phone. It works on your desktop. They have webmail and works with your email clients. And here's the best part. You can add or buy a domain through Fastmail. Make your business look really professional. They'll set up all the records for you. It works immediately. No more bounces from Gmail. You pay for free email with your privacy. At Fastmail, your data stays yours. You get better productivity features, and it's all as little as $3 a month. It's easy to download your old email's data, import it into your new Fastmail inbox. And remember, Fastmail has better spam filters and absolutely no ads. I am a Fastmail fan. Fastmail also works with password managers like our sponsor, Bitwarden, and 1Password to generate masked emails to double your security. And don't forget, you can download the Fastmail app to get the most out of your email right now on iOS or Android. Fastmail, it's the better email service. Quality worth paying for. Try Fastmail now, free for 30 days. Fastmail.com/twit. That's fastmail.com/twit. Well, hey, how are you today? That's Micah Sargent in the gray suit.
And that's Leo Laporte in the blue and gray suit.
With the FU socks.
With the
it says,
follow-up
I'm
socks.
old FU.
Yeah, that's
on these socks. Guess who gave them to me? Just take a wild stab at it. No, not my mom.
No, your wife.
My dear wife.
Yeah.
But it's got bonsais on it, which I guess, I don't know, are bonsais old? I don't know.
You know, it takes patience to properly prune a bonsai tree.
It is cold in St. Joe.
It's negative 13 degrees.
Yeah. You've got an Arctic front coming through most of the United States. I hope you all are staying warm. Mm-hmm. It is a frigid 50 degrees here in California. We're just, we got the fire going.
Thank goodness.
It is so cold. But then, of course, because I am a pioneer in spirit, I'm going to be going back east
That's right.
tonight to visit my mom. And I'll be doing we have some big shows this week. The Samsung event is that Tuesday or Wednesday?
Wednesday.
10 a.m.
So I'll be doing the Apple Mac Break Weekly, Security Now, the Samsung event, Windows Weekly, and Twig from my mom's house in Providence. And it's supposed to snow on Tuesday, so it'll be fun.
Hopefully you'll have some hot
Arctic
cocoa and
slippers. I thought I was going through the closet. You know how you do the Fibber McGee's closet. I'm going, Lisa, I know I have a winter coat in here somewhere. She said, we probably gave it away. I said, no, I found it. It's nice, big. It goes down to here. It's LL Bean, so I know it'll work. It's not, though. Everybody there about now wears puffer jackets. I should get a puffer jacket.
Was it in your cedar chest?
Yes, it was. How did you know?
Well,
no, it wasn't in there.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
Let's see.
What do they call that when a young woman has a hope chest?
Hope chest.
She hopes that she will someday open that up. We are going to have some CES coverage this week.
That's right.
Father Robert is there.
Yeah, and CES has been going, and we've heard lots of reports from there.
Yeah,
and it will be great to actually learn about what was on the show floor.
Yeah. Father Robert will give us a report. He's actually coming in studio for Twit this afternoon, and he's going to do his traditional spread it all out on the table kind of thing. So it's going to be kind of wacky. We also have Sam Abuelsamid, who will talk about the car. There was a lot of EV stuff and car stuff at CES. Sam will be talking about that. He's coming up in just a little bit. Of course, your questions as well. How do people reach us?
There are so many ways to reach us, which is great.
I'm so confused.
Oh, yeah. One way is by calling 888-724-2884. If you call that number during the week while we're not doing the show, you'll be able to leave a voicemail. But if you call while we are doing the show, as we are right now, you will be able to hang out and perhaps have your question answered live on air. If you are asked to join us on the stage, you want to remember to hit *6 on your phone. That will unmute you so that we can actually hear you. You'll give your name and the place where you're calling. You can also reach us by heading to call.twit.tv on your device of choice. We suggest using a smartphone. If you do it on your smartphone, it will take you to a little Zoom room where you'll hang out, and then you'll be brought on air and be able to ask your question. We ask that if you do have a question and you go to call.twit.tv, please hit the button that says raise hand. That lets us know that you're not just hanging out, but that you actually do have a question for us.
Because people come and they dial. We don't recommend this or encourage it, but they do dial and they listen.
Yeah. So that is one way. And then last but not least, you can email us. atg@twit.tv is the email. Text, voice, video, however you want to, that way.
We don't have a whole lot of ads today. In fact, you already heard the only ad we have if you are listening at home after the fact. But, I was very jealous. Do you ever watch YouTube TV? Mm-hmm. When they get to the local ads in YouTube TV on the cable channels, that's where the cable company or the local company would sell the ads. If they don't, they have a quiet moment of nature zen. So I thought, because we don't have any ads today, I could put a quiet moment of nature zen in there.
I love it.
This is tree.fm. You go there and it picks a random forest and you can listen to it. How about that? You want to see the next forest? That's Deschutes. Here we are in Canada, in Quebec, the Refuge Phonique Marguerite. Isn't that nice?
That is actually quite
Tree.fm.
nice.
So if you needed some nature.
Some bees going on there.
This is not today. I guarantee you, in Minnewaska State Park, right now, it doesn't sound like this.
No.
It sounds like the ice cracking as the moose gingerly look across it looking for food. So I hope you're surviving the Arctic blast. And I'm glad you decided to spend some time with us and our faux fire. This is the week I have to make a major decision. Whether to get up at 5 a.m. on Friday and order a Vision Pro. John's going, You should see John. He's like very negative on this. We now know Apple, Mark Gurman has reported, because Apple sends from every store, one employee has been sent back to the home office in Cupertino, California to get trained.
For a special training, yeah.
And now I think some of those people are actually leaking what happened. But apparently, you will go, if you get up at 5 a.m. Pacific, it's 8 a.m. Eastern. I'll be in the East Coast, so it won't be so bad. So I get up at 8 a.m., I get in line, and I go click, 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 and of course, Apple's site won't work at first and stuff, and I pre-order. At that point, I'll be assigned a time as early as 8 a.m.
Oh, Lord.
To go to our local Apple store, and they're a couple within driving distance of here, and for an appointment. At which point, I think, according to Mark Gurman, you're supposed to take your phone and scan your face and send them the data.
Yes.
So they're prepared for you. But once you get there, they may also scan it. They also rip your eyeglasses from your face. I thought, I'm going to have to get my prescription. But no, they put it in a machine that tells them what your prescription is. And then they supposedly have all the little Zeiss lenses they can pop right in there for a mere $149. And then, and this is the part that actually, of all, I'm still trying to decide, it's the next big thing. Should I get one? I know everybody will want. Jason Snell's going to probably get one. I know Alex Lindsay will get one. So we'll have people around us that will have one. Yeah. But I think, is it my responsibility as a journalist to spend $3,500 on this technology? And then Mark said, and oh, by the way, before you're allowed to leave, you have to take a 25-minute tour of the device with an Apple employee.
That stopped
me.
Yes.
It's not the 30. I mean, I didn't want to spend the 35.
Yeah.
But what it was that said, no, that's definitely out.
I wonder.
You too, right?
No, I'm with you. I mean, there are a lot of things that stop me beside that, but that alone is so annoying to me. I don't need your tour. I don't need your help. I will take it home. I will do what I do with it. I am kind of curious, though. I almost want you to do it because I want you to be the grumpy guy who says, "No, I'm not doing the tour. That's mine."
Oh, and say, "No, I got it, and I'm out of here." That I just bought a new car, right? And the salesman wants to get in the car with you and give you a tour. And I did exactly as I said. You know what? I'm the tech guy. I'll just read the manual and I'll figure it out. And he said, "But he starts twirling knobs and stuff. I don't want that.
Stop touching my stuff."
I bet a lot of our viewers are like that, where they just, because if you're a tech person, right? You don't want the tour. Plus, I feel like Apple's going to be a little bit of a, is it fair to say, indoctrination?
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Like,
This is so amazing. And watch how this works.
Blink
Ooh.
your left eye.
Can you believe? Yeah.
I can't take it. I can't take it. So
that is, I am curious if you're allowed. See, that even that word to say, am I allowed to take it? Do I have to stay?
I bet you are.
You should be able to leave.
You bought the darn thing.
Exactly.
Unless they don't charge your card until after you sit through the 25.
Sorry.
It's almost like a timeshare demo. Like you can get a Vision Pro for only $3,500 if you just sit through this small talk. This little demonstration.
And then you'll pass on that demonstration to someone else, and two of them will buy it. And then
I think that's what they're kind of up to. They're really, I think, I don't know. You know me, I'm very skeptical about this whole thing. Mostly, and I'll be very fair, mostly because, and I've tried them all. I did the Kickstarter for the Oculus Rift, got the original Oculus Rift, got the fixed up one when Facebook felt guilty about buying it. They sent me a new one. I bought the HTC Vive. I bought the Oculus Pro from Meta. So I have plenty of experience going back, frankly, to 1992 when I first strapped on one of those and got on a saddle at SIGGRAPH at the big graphics concert to ride a pterodactyl. And it's going like this. And though in those days, the thing was huge and had a big cable coming out of the back attached
like
to a
Borg.
supercomputer, so you could go like this. So I'm not completely inexperienced with this stuff. And I understand the appeal of it when you get in. And in fact, we did a little walking the plank. Remember that? It was scary.
It was
wasn't
scary, yeah. And it's fun for a moment.
That was the Oculus Pro you were wearing for that. So I'm not, but there's something. I mean, I have a physical response to the idea that I have to strap the computer onto my face. There's something about it that bugs me. Maybe it's just my own prejudice.
Well, I mean, yes, but it is also the prejudice I feel anecdotally of many others who also don't like to have things strapped to their face. I don't think that it's specific to you. I've got the Meta Quest 2, and I used it for a little bit, and then now it just sits in its case, and I've not used it in a long time, and that's because I'm putting it on my face, and I don't like being in there. I don't want to be in this space that is uncomfortable, and for me can make me nauseated at times. And so I don't know, I get that this is an appeal for some people, and some people do enjoy this, and because of the high quality and this and that and the other, that the high performance, that this is a little bit different, but it is still strapping a computer to your face. All that said, and even though I said earlier about if I had purchased the thing getting a demo, because I am not purchasing the thing, I am going to try to sign up for the demo just so I can. Oh,
you're allowed to go in and try it. Yeah. This is I think it's such a natural, visceral revulsion. There actually was a horror game called Half-Life 10 years ago that came out that the biggest jump scare on that was the head crabs. They called them the face. Don't listen to the sound, but He's actually doing this in VR, and he's wandering around.
Oh, no.
The face huggers leap out of places and latch onto your face, and it's so horrific. Here comes one.
Oh,
Watch out.
No!
Ooh, it just missed. Whew, he's lucky. That's, to me, there is some visceral... All right, enough of that. There's some visceral... Deep within our primordial lizard brain... fear of getting a giant thing going. And enough so that 10 years ago they made a thing about it.
Yeah.
In Half-Life, and that was if you played
an
Half-Life,
Alien as well.
It was scary. So I feel like maybe this is a normal. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. We should make Micah buy it.
No, I don't. I don't want to sit through the demo. No.
The demo really turned me off.
Now that you've said, this makes me happy to hear that Jason is probably going to get it. And
he's going to get one for sure. He said he's going to buy one.
Oh, sweet.
He, like me, feels like it's his job, but unlike me, is actually dedicated. It's not. Okay, maybe it's
just so expensive.
It's so expensive. Anyway, you can order it Friday. Goes pre-order. You know what I'm buying? I already pre-ordered it. My very first computer, I had an Atari 2600 video game thing, and I said, I should just get the computer version. My very first computer was an Atari 400. There is now a company, they call it the 400. It is a mini Atari 400, exactly like the original. It even has some of the games built in. Just to give you an idea of how mini it is, there's a picture of the joystick next to it. So this was my first computer. I bet not a few of you, it was your first computer. Look how tiny it is. It even has the games built in. I already ordered it. It was 100. It's 100 pounds or 100 euros.
Oh, so wait. I was like, how did they do that? It's got a neutron star.
It's got the membrane keyboard. Look at the size of it next to the joystick. It'll give you some idea how tiny it is. So I will have that. That was my.
And you don't have to strap it to your face.
Don't strap it to your face. It's so small you could probably swallow it. Don't do that either.
And far less than $3,000.
It comes with a few of the games that I vividly remember, including a game by a guy who at the time was a game design genius, widely recognized, Chris Crawford, called Mule. Mm-hmm. That was an animated chess game but it wasn't exactly chess, but the pieces were like the Ak walker from Star Wars, and it would walk across and it would devour your other. It was great. Anyway, cool. So Mule wasn't that. That was a different game. Mule was the Chris Crawford game where you have to serve. Anyway, it was a resource game. It was fun. So it comes with a few really good games. I'm buying that. $129 versus $3,500. Mm-hmm. Sad news. Kevin Systrom, you know the name?
Yep.
Founder of Instagram. He and a tiny team created Instagram, instant hit. When was that? When did Instagram launch? Feels like we were still in the cottage. I remember because
2010, October 2010.
My first post 13 years ago. My first post, I was up in the cottage and I took a picture of Ken Shepardson, our engineering director at the time, and I wrote a profanity on it and posted it. It cross-posted to Twitter, and I got a bunch of people mad at me because I swore, probably including you, John. But that was my first post on Instagram back then in October 2020. Sarah Lane said, there's this new thing. It's really cool, Instagram. You got to try it. So I immediately signed, you know me, I really signed up immediately. I don't even still have that account. I've gone through, I quit so many times. I have so many new accounts. Anyway, Kevin Systrom sold it to Facebook at the time, amazing, $1 billion. He and the team went to Facebook. He worked there briefly, didn't really like it very much, but took his money and went out and then started something a year ago called Artifact. Have you played with Artifact?
I tried it. Yeah.
It's a news app. And the idea was, there was no advertising on it, which made me suspicious. The idea was you read, and the more you read, the more Artifact will show you what you want. And then they added commenting. I think he was going somewhere with it. But unfortunately, the only place it went is down the tubes. Artifact is no more. They're shutting it down. They're firing everybody. Shutting down Artifact. There's the asterisk icon, which was quite memorable. But I think it was really neat for those of us who like to read news. It was a kind of customizable news reader. It let you, as you read, it was more appropriate to you. It let you comment on it. You see, it had these categories, TV and movies. Anyway, bye.
It was never clear to me that I know that it was supposed to be learning my behavior, but it was never clear to me how to show any indication of that. And they didn't make it clear that simply tapping on an article was what caused it to start to learn about you.
Yeah.
And so I always felt like I was missing something. And that's what kept me from going back to it.
Yeah.
But apparently, as they say, it says we've built something that a core group of users love, but the market opportunity isn't big enough to warrant continued investment in this way. So there's the ads thing. You're saying with no ads, they must have been basically keeping the service afloat their own, and it couldn't anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of sad. I mean, to his credit, he shut it down after a year. It points out, I think one of the reasons I bring it up is it points out you could be a genius product designer, and he clearly is, and you can make a great product, but making $1 billion on that great product is really mostly luck. It's mostly timing, and just right, and the luck was just right, and he thought, well, I did it once, maybe I can do it again. And it's very rare that somebody does it more than once.
Because there are so many variables when you're making something like that. All of the human beings that are involved in it suddenly become variable. Like it's just, it is. I think you're absolutely right. It's the lottery in a way.
Yeah. All right. I think we've wasted enough of your time with our socks. Have you given up on the fancy socks?
These are pretty fancy. You just can't see them very well. They've got lots of different colorful spots in them.
That sounds like a rationalization for a man who no longer wants to wear oddball socks.
Perhaps. These are just warm.
Now that you wear a suit and tie, the socks can't.
Socks a second.
The reason, I remember hearing a doctor say this once. Doctors have basically a uniform. Mm-hmm. Lawyers, men in general, when we go to business, we have to wear a suit and tie, or jacket and tie. It doesn't give us a whole lot of scope for expression. So a lot of guys have funny ties, fancy ties, weird haircuts, or funny socks. Yep. It's about one of the few places. Here I'm wearing a navy blazer with gray slacks and a white shirt. That is like uniform, business casual uniform. Boring, but I got the socks that say F you, I'm old.
And that tells you a little something about Leo Laporte.
A little zing to the personality. That and some crazy glasses, and
I wish you'd wear them more often. They're so great.
They're kind of heavy on my nose.
Oh, are they?
Those are the glasses I showed them off last week that are made out of old vinyl LPs. And they're very cool. I wear them once in a while. I wear them to scare Lisa. Yesterday, by the way, if you're in the club, and I hope you're in the club, if you're in the club, Lisa did and I helped, did a little Discord stream. We made spaghetti sauce bolognese. Her famous, actually, I guess it was Thursday. Was it Thursday or Friday? Friday. Her famous spaghetti bolognese sauce that she has been adapting over time to make her own. It was really fun.
That's awesome.
I shot it on an iPhone using continuity cam, so it wasn't wired to the laptop, so I was able to move it around. I had a little tripod, I put it there, and then sometimes I'd move it around. And I think it went really well. So we want to do more of that. Lisa thought, let's do it as an experiment. By the way, that sauce was good. So if you're not a member of the club, we're adding a little benefit. Every once in a while, we might turn on the cameras at Casa Laporte or maybe Casa Sargent and have some fun doing some stuff. We want you to join the club. That's really the truth because it keeps us on the air. And that's sadly the truth. Just like, sadly, Artifact, even though we do have ads, ad support has dwindled for all podcasting. So many podcast networks and podcasts this year have said goodbye. Mm-hmm. Rocket just signed off because they couldn't sell enough ads. We don't want to have that happen to Twit. So what we're doing is we're asking you kindly, if you like what you see and you want to see more of it, you'd want our coverage of CES, of artificial intelligence, our informed, intelligent, without fear or favor coverage, help us out. $7 a month. You get ad-free versions of all the shows. You get additional programming we don't put out in public with the Twit Plus feed. You also get the Discord, which is a great place to hang. Twit.tv/clubtwit. And most importantly, we try to give you a lot of benefits, but most importantly, you're making a big difference in helping us out. We figure what we don't want to be. You know what? I love our advertisers, and ads have kept us on the air for 18 years. But I think it would be nice if we didn't have to have ads. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If we could get a mere 5% of the audience to join the club, which is really, we're close. We're at 2%. If we get 5% to join the club, we wouldn't have to worry about ads at all. 10%, I'd be living in Aruba. No, 10. We would hire people back. We would add shows. But we need to see your support. So twit.tv/clubtwit. I would like to keep doing this. I know you would like to keep doing this.
Absolutely.
I think what we're doing is more than just up for us and a job. You'd have another job. I don't really need a job. I have my retirement savings, but I think we want to do this.
Yeah, and you've said it before, especially with where we are on the cusp of AI and generative AI, and making sure that you have a place you can go that you can trust to properly cover and explain and pull apart this stuff. That's what we want to be able to continue to be.
I think we're good at that, and I think we bring together some of the smartest people in the industry without lots of fluff. Well, there's some sock fluff.
There's some fluff.
Shall we take our first call of the day?
Yeah, let's pick up on a phone caller.
Let's do it.
Remember, caller, please press *6 to unmute yourself when you are brought on air.
Beep. Yeah, I don't think we recorded it. Somebody's saying, "Did you record the Bolognese?" I don't. Did we have to do something?
Those are ephemeral, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we will next time. It was just really like off the cuff. Lisa said, "What? Let's just try it. Just turn on the camera." And I thought we did a pretty darn good job, given that I was the camera operator.
See what we do.
And by the way, I did wear those glasses for it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So now you're really sad you missed it.
Yep, exactly.
Oh, that bolognese. I think you could almost smell it through the
smell-o-vision.
Through the Discord. It was so good. First name and city, please, caller. Press star boop.
Wow, that was the same pitch as 6. How did you know?
There it is, a picture of it. Somebody did a screenshot. That's hysterical. Wait a minute, let me pull up the Discord. Wow. I didn't realize I looked that nerdy.
That's delightful.
There we are. Lisa and me making a bolognese. Do I look like, I don't know. I look like the guy from Up, I guess. I don't know. I can't quite figure it out. It was chilly. There we are making bolognese in the Casa Laporte. I guess we're not hearing a caller. I'm just
Dale Bell. I don't know if that is actually your name or not, but you need to hit *6.
I was the Sue. Actually, I didn't do anything. I was the camera operator. And every once in a while, I'd run around to the other side and make funny faces. It was a lot of fun.
All right. I don't know. We're going to keep trying with Dale, but do you want to maybe do a voicemail in the meantime?
Sure.
Let's do a voicemail.
Hi, Leo and Micah.
Hi.
David here from Perth, Western Australia.
Oh, wonderful.
Got a bit of an old school question for you. Where I work, we're allowed to listen to music and stuff in the trucks that we drive, but we cannot use any Bluetooth or anything hooked up to the stereo in the trucks that we drive. So streaming services, downloaded streaming music is not an available option. The one thing we can do is MP3s on a USB stick plugged into the stereo itself. Thankfully, I have some music, but I also have a 20-plus-year-old problem. Some of those pieces of music are recorded at different volumes and play at different volumes than others. Can you recommend anything to help me treat the files to even them out a lot more than they currently are? I know nothing's going to be perfect, but hopefully I can get a little bit closer to a lot more medium ground level. Thanks very much. Love the show.
Thank you, David. Nice to hear from you.
Yeah, and what a great question.
So if you're willing to spend $25, the way I would recommend doing this is using Apple's Match, iTunes Match. Now, in order to do this, you don't have to have a Mac. I think you can do it on a PC, but you'd have to download Apple's Music app and then sign up for Match and then take all of those files. What Match does, this is an interesting solution. When Apple decided to remove copy protection from their music, the music industry freaked out. and because they were afraid that this would just encourage piracy. So Apple made a concession. They said, all right, here's what we're going to do. We want to get rid of all the DRM, all the copy protection on all the stuff you ever bought from iTunes. So if you paid $25, which I presume Apple then passed on to the music industry, because that's the only reason I could think of that they did this. But if you give us $25, we will take whatever's in that iTunes library, whether you bought it from us or not, and that's the important thing, in whatever form it is, as long as iTunes can play it, and that means a wide variety of formats, and we will replace those with the official 256 kilobit AAC version of that song. What that means is you're going to, in effect, replace this library of diverse quality. It has to be at least 92 kilobits a second. And if it's not, you can even use iTunes to upscale it. I had a few songs that were really low quality, and I just upscaled them. If it's 92 kilobits a second or better, and remember, you're going to get a 256 kilobit AAC. But if you have, as I did a lot from Napster, for instance, lower quality MP3s, I put them in that folder, imported them into iTunes, turned on Match, and Apple miraculously created, in effect, an online library for me of all of these songs in their full glory, which you can then download if you want, put on a USB stick, because they're not copy protected. They're AACs, which I'm not sure if your auto system will handle AACs. I suspect they will. If they won't, you can easily, with a number of tools, convert them to MP3. But you're going to get the studio recordings, or the recordings they sold, so the levels will be consistent. The bit rate will be higher probably than what you've got. The quality will be good. There's no copy protection. So this is, I understand, not the ideal solution because you have to pay $25 and you have to download Apple's music. If you're on a Mac, you already have it. If you're not, if you're on Windows, you have to download it and do it there. It's called iTunes Match, and Apple still offers it. I'm not sure why. But it's I turned it off because I finally have converted everything. But I had a bunch of, probably like you, David, Napster files. Remember Napster? That I had downloaded of, like, Do the Hustle. And it was low quality because I got it on Napster. And now I have the original song, Do the Hustle. Not that I will ever play it. So that's be my recommended solution, because then you're going to get the best quality.
I think that's a great solution. There was one other solution that I wanted to mention. It was mentioned in the Discord, and also I came across this in looking. Think about a type of person who has the most random kind of music of different volumes, different things. It's a DJ, a person who is there to spin tracks. And I saw multiple DJs recommend that if you're using a Windows machine, to use MP3 Gain. That's MP3 GAIN.
This is free.
And this is a free tool available for Windows. There are some ports over to the Mac. I can't speak to those, but MP3 Gain used by DJs to do exactly this, to normalize audio across an entire library. And so this tool apparently, continues to be made and downloaded by lots of folks, and is currently at version 1.2.5.
Yeah. This is, I'm going to guess they're probably using something like FFmpeg. This might be a front end to FFmpeg, because that's the real answer for everything. is a command line tool, runs on DOS, Linux, Windows, Mac, called FFmpeg. The problem is it's got a very elaborate command line structure. You'd have to learn the command. But if you did, you could batch convert anything to anything. It's a really powerful tool. We actually use FFmpeg in our back end. Every show that you hear of ours has been processed through, and Russell wrote, right, John? We still use that. Russell wrote a very long command line to process our sound files through FFmpeg. I don't remember what he's doing with it, but
anytime my kitchen sink gets clogged, I use FFmpeg.
FFmpeg is amazing.
If my car's engine starts sputtering, FFmpeg.
And in this cold weather, you put FFmpeg in your radiator.
That's right.
And it really keeps everything flowing. No, we're just making that up.
We're just being silly. But
so that's the other. Those are that's good.
I think those two
MP3
options.
Gain or iTunes Match is going to give you. I mean, it's really kind of a great deal. It's going to give you the actual file. Now, the only negative on iTunes Match is it won't have if you have weird stuff, something, a concert you recorded in Perth in 1992 that nobody has, that was never sold. Okay. But if it's commercial music, almost always it'll match it just fine. All right. Did you get our caller or no?
No, but we have another phone caller.
Okay.
Hello, second caller. Remember, hit *6 when you join to unmute yourself.
Just like booping a Labrador. Doop, doop. Twice. Hello? Do you think? Oh.
Hello, guys.
Hello.
How are you?
We're great. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Leo's Peter from Brooklyn.
Hey, Peter. How you doing in Brooklyn?
Caller.
How you doing?
I'm good.
How's that tunnel going?
Not bad. First of all, I love the show as always.
Thank you, Peter.
And I've been a Club Twit member now for a couple of months.
Oh, bless you.
Too.
Bless you. Thank you.
Yes.
I really appreciate the support. It makes a big difference.
It really does. Thank you.
Thank you. Question I have, I just purchased a MacBook Pro.
Nice.
And I'm looking to game on it. I know that's not normally the route to go if you want Alienware or something like that, but I do love Mac. So I like to play like Call of Duty or something like that. Can you guys tell me how to go about that?
Yeah. So, by the way, good news, you got Apple Silicon, right? Did you get an M3 or an M2? What'd you get?
Yeah, I heard you guys talking about it a couple months back, and I got the M3 Pro. The M3 Max.
Wow.
Oh, dude,
you're good.
You're a brother from another mother.
Yeah, you're fine.
So,
I try to future-proof.
Apple. Now, this has always historically been a problem for Apple, is that they are not. Everybody says Windows for gaming, right? But here's the good news. And I just saw an article about this a couple of weeks ago, that Apple really is starting to say gaming might be a good avenue for us. That M3 Max you got has, not only is it a powerful processor, it has a very good graphics processing unit in the processor. So even though Apple has abandoned discrete graphics like NVIDIA or AMD, I think gaming companies are starting to realize this ain't bad. Now, there are a few games that are native to the Apple platform. They're not exactly COD. For instance, Baldur's Gate 3 is really, really good game. It's kind of a first-person shooter person won't like it because it's a turn-based. But if you like D&D style, this is people are raving. This might be the game of the year, and it is fully native on the Macintosh. You get it through Steam. Steam has quite a few Macintosh titles on there. I'm just trying to think of what the best first-person shooter might be native to the Macintosh.
In terms of native, I don't know of any.
Yeah. I mean, there's no Call of Duty. There's no Gears of War. There's no, it's too bad because the actually Call of Duty kind of its heritage goes back through Halo, which Microsoft bought Bungie, which goes back to a game called Marathon, which was a Macintosh game. So really the very first, first-person shooter in this genre, I guess Quake and Doom were, but the Macintosh had a very good one called Marathon, and then Microsoft bought them and made it Windows only, unfortunately. Counter-Strike?
Leo.
All right, Counter-Strike 2, apparently you can play on the Mac. That's a great game. I'm looking at the Discord to see what they recommend. Yes, Peter?
Is there any way to connect the MacBook to my Xbox? I remember back in the days there was a way to do it.
Oh, yeah.
But I haven't done it in a while.
So you can
play it. I want to play it at home.
So I don't know how exciting this will be, but you can use any of the streaming gaming platforms on your Macintosh as well. You'll be playing in the browser, and you have to have enough bandwidth.
Yeah,
you probably want to connect it via Ethernet, not Wi-Fi and so forth. But you could play Amazon's streaming gaming platform. You could play NVIDIA's GeForce Now, and Xbox has a streaming platform that you can stream as well. So yeah, you can absolutely do that. It might be if you use the Xbox and connected over hardwire, I feel like you might get a decent. So what you're going to do, it's a little. Is this up to date? Connect a network cable and turn on internet sharing. So you're actually going to Ethernet your Mac to your Xbox.
Oh.
This seems, well, I don't know if this is up to date or not. When did this, they don't have a date on this note. If you want to connect your Xbox console and don't have a router, you can direct connect. That might be faster, but you certainly can do Xbox game sharing. So you could put Call of Duty on your Xbox and then use the sharing. Microsoft has the streaming capability, is basically.
What about emulation?
I've got Windows on here. I haven't tried playing anything like a AAA game on here.
It might be a lot for it to do.
Well, remember that it is running Windows on ARM, so the game would have to be an ARM game.
Oh, that's true. It still wouldn't.
So you're still going to have the same issue. My guess is that's not going to be the way to go. But the good news is, I can't remember how to do this. I keep thinking I should do this. But Xbox, I think you have to have Game Pass. But I think you can stream Xbox Game Pass onto your Mac. Let me just.
I've had experience using Amazon's Luna to play Assassin's Creed.
That's actually not bad.
I had a great experience.
You have to use Amazon's
their special controller, and that's just for low latency. And as long as I used Ethernet, it was fantastic. But the bummer thing about that is you've bought this beast of a machine and you're not using it to its full capability by doing that, because
but if you really want to play Call of Duty, you can.
Yeah.
Xbox Game Pass will let you. Do you have Game Pass, Peter?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So Game Pass streams to your Mac, basically. So anything, and I think Call of Duty is on Game Pass. If it's not, there's certainly plenty of good first-person shooters. So Hacker Noon has a good article. I'll put it in the show notes. You need a Game Pass subscription. I would suggest getting a controller. There are quite a few compatible controllers with the Macintosh. This is with Parallels. No, you want to use cloud gaming. It's interesting that you said that. It does say you could use Parallels. I wouldn't do that. I think you want to do it with cloud gaming and an Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription. You will definitely want a controller. You can get a wireless controller that works with your MacBook easily. I should I have Game Pass. I should set this up.
What's the benefit
Maybe
of
next
doing it
next week I'll do it that way.
On your Mac instead of just playing it on the Xbox that you have? Is there a benefit to that?
You know what it is? I have the Xbox upstairs, and I wanted to see if I can, sit in the living room or something,
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Play on it.
You can play anything you have on Game Pass Ultimate directly on the Mac. I think you do it you have to do it in a browser. So you're going to use Chrome. There are different browsers it supports, but Chrome would probably be the one you'd want to do. Sign on with your Microsoft account, go to your cloud gaming page. All those cloud gaming those games in your cloud library will be available to play. I think that's the easiest way to do it.
I remember back a few years ago, I think also if you had the disc, I guess if you have the physical game inserted, would you be able to play that too, or it has to be a game from the Game Pass lineup?
I think Microsoft has made this cloud gaming service. Well, that's a good question.
Yeah, I don't know.
You
get matching.
I'm thinking, I have to ask Paul that. I apologize for not having tried this. I will try it this weekend. This weekend, I will, when I come back next week, I'll have maybe I won't have time to do that next week, but I'll have a setup for you. Because I should be, I don't know if you can play from the disc. Do you actually have a disc for Call of Duty? You mean play it from the hard drive? Okay. You know the disc is just the unlock key, really. I think to stream, you have to have it on Ultimate because it's not really streaming from your Xbox. You might be able to do that. I need an expert. I don't think it's streaming from your Xbox to the Mac. You're getting it from the cloud, just as you with Amazon Luna. You're getting it from the cloud. There are, though, some native ones. I think what we really want to do as Mac users is start looking for native Mac games
and supporting them.
Encourage developers to make more of them. Somebody's saying Prodeus, Prodeus, is a good first-person retro style first-person shooter available for the Mac. I think more. You have Steam undoubtedly, right, Peter?
You know what? I didn't actually install it yet. No.
Yeah, I would install Steam on that machine. and then go to your Steam library, and you can actually look at Mac compatible games. This is more like Duke Nukem kind of, but it looks like a lot of fun. And this is Mac native, first person shooter reimagined with modern rendering technology. Look at that. It really does look kind of retro. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that there are a lot more and more. There are Mac compatible games, which is great, and then you're running them natively, which is really cool. So install Steam and look at the list of available. That's the nice thing about the Steam. Steam is amazing.
Yeah,
Steam,
it really is.
You can say, I just want to play Mac games. Factorio is fine. I've played a lot of games. There are some. Actually, I should launch my Steam and show you some of the games I have, because I've been playing a lot of the Steam games on the Mac, and there's some pretty good ones. What was the one I was playing the other day? Oh, well. It's going to take a while. You know how Steam is.
Yeah, I was going to say 15 minutes from now, Steam will be ready.
Let's look at my library, and then I can select Mac-only titles. Baldur's Gate 3, Factorio. Timberborn was the one you told me about. That's the one where you're a beaver and you're building dams, okay? Arc is available on the Mac. Is that right? Yes, it is. This is a very good first-person shooter. That is very fun. Oxygen not included. Yeah, no, that's not fun. Pillars of Eternity is available on the Mac. Wow.
I think I bought that one.
That's a fun game. Yeah. I like survival games. Here's one, Surviving Mars. And then I showed you a couple of months ago, there is no game where that's just a fun puzzle game. But Ark is a very good first-person shooter with dinosaurs. I think that might be a good one. Survival of the Fittest. But yeah, I think if you look, that's just stuff I own. I think if you look at the store, you'll see quite a few games now that are available to run on Steam on the Mac, which is pretty exciting. Hey, Peter, it's always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, guys.
Stay warm.
Go
I think
49ers.
it's gonna be cold. Are you a Niners fan? No.
I actually am a diehard Giant fan, but I like the 49ers.
Of course you
I
are.
like what they're doing.
Of course you are. We're very excited about what's this postseason. We'll see what happens. Playoffs are next weekend. Yeah. Thank you, Peter. Great to talk to you. Take care. Proteus looks like a good game. That looks like a lot of fun.
You know what? I'm
Thank
looking
you,
for
Wizard.
Call of Duty, the latest one. I think it's only Windows only on Steam.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. You'd have to, but I'm thinking you could stream it on Game Pass. That's what I'm gonna have to try. I'm gonna have to find out.
Should be able to.
Yeah, I think you can. I hope you can.
I hope so.
Hey, guess who's coming up?
I bet it's Sam Abuelsamid.
That wasn't much of a guess. You knew. Sam Abuelsamid, our car guy, coming up in just a little bit. You're watching Ask the Tech Guys with this guy Micah and me, Leo, and I hope you're enjoying your chilly January. Of course, if you're in Perth right now, it's probably boiling. I should have asked David. Oh, he was a voicemail. Because
could have asked.
It's the dead of summer now in Perth.
So weird how that works.
Yeah. Is Sam here yet, or should we do another?
Do you want to do a quick email?
Let me do an email, and then
We like
Sam will appear magically.
atg@twit.tv is the email.
Voice recorder or external mic for a smartphone. From the Willow Woman, Lisa. Hi, Lisa. The Willow Woman here from Austin, Texas. Originally from New York, so I'll say it right. The Willow Woman from Austin. I have an older friend who is not tech savvy and is homebound. She would like to start audio recording her thoughts, stories, and memories to pass on to her family.
Oh,
awesome.
Very good.
Great to support this, Lisa. It'd be great to have the audio be excellent quality. Money isn't an object, but it needs to be easy and convenient to use. So, she wants our opinion. What would be better, Micah Sargent, a dedicated voice recorder or an external mic connected to a smartphone? I don't know what kind she has, or something I haven't thought of. Lisa says she's going to be the one who, she has a music studio, so she'll be the one who can edit and clean up the audio, which is very nice of you.
Okay.
Unfortunately, she can't come to the studio to record, but I think she'd be more comfy recording at home or on the fly. I'm going to tell you the best thing to do.
I'm curious to hear. Let's
you have an
let's
idea?
hear the best thing before I throw in
You
some
could
other
certainly do it on an
suggestions.
iPhone.
Yeah, because
problem is we don't know. But even an Android phone, it'll have a decent mic.
that's so. Yes, this is the thing. If it was in a pinch, if you didn't have a lot of money to spend, that kind of thing, I would absolutely recommend just using the built-in microphone for your device and the built-in voice recorder. But you said money is no object, and it sounds like you're even going to go further and kind of clean up the files and stuff. So you might as well get it.
Yeah, as long as she can
good.
take a memory card, put it into a device, and then give you the memory card or mail it to you, I would recommend a Zoom handheld recorder.
Yep.
This is from Zoom Corp, not Zoom, the video calling company, but Zoom Corp. They make a variety of superb handheld recorders. Most of them are overkill, probably for what she needs. But the reason these are so good is they have built-in high-quality microphones, right? This is a tiny, the H1N. It's small enough to hold in your hand or just to put on a tabletop and record. The quality is going to be excellent, and it's very easy to use. You see, they actually talk about musicians using it. It's that good. And it's not expensive. I think this is probably a great choice, but anything from Zoom Corp would be good. I like this because it's so small and it's very easy to use. This would even be easier, frankly, than a smartphone. Because see the record button? She just presses that.
Yep.
And now, since the Willow Woman, you know something about audio, you'll be happy to hear this will record in both compressed MP3 for longer recording and uncompressed wave for high quality. And if you put in an SD card, it takes micro SD cards. If you put in a 32 gig SD card, you're talking 222 hours of recording for MP3 at the highest quality, which probably would be sufficient. I don't think she needs to use wave. So that's very good. Let's go see what Amazon's charging on an H1N. I think it's under $200, but let's just see real quickly. It's also an influenza virus.
H1N1.
Yeah. It's a handy recorder. I think it does stereo. She won't need that. So don't get the 2018 model. Let's look at the 2013 model. Oh, it looks like $99.
Yeah.
I think that's
I agree.
Easily
So,
the best thing.
Because you have it sounds like the budget to do so, you might as well get something that's going to sound great, work well, and again, is super easy to use. Hitting the record button, hitting stop afterward.
I mean, I often record myself on this is the latest iPhone, but I often record myself on iPhones or Android phones using the voice recorder.
Yeah, I even do it with the Apple Watch with Just Press Record.
Yeah, and the quality's fine.
It's fine.
I use Just Press Record as well. That's a program, not expensive. I think it's
$4.99?
It's cheap,
something.
And it just has a big record button. You press it and record. But you even have built-in voice memo apps on both iPhone and Android that you can record. The advantage of doing it on a device like that is she could then send it to you.
Yes, very easily send it.
She's got internet connectivity on her phone. And both the iPhone and Android will transcribe it as well. And if that's something she wants, because this is a computer, right? So that's the only difference. The microphones are better and the ease of use is better on a Zoom. It's just a button and it's a microphone and an SD card. But if I have to say the quality is pretty darn good, even on the watch.
Yes.
The quality is pretty darn good. Let me just do a voice memo, because that's the program I would use, is the voice memo program. And I'll record something. Hello, let's record a voice memo. When I was a young man, we used to go down to the corner store and buy licorice. A pound bag cost a penny. All right, now I'll play this back for you and you can see how it sounds. Pretty good, huh? You have to turn it up. Hello, let's record a voice memo. When I was a young man, we used to go down to the corner store and buy licorice. A pound bag cost a penny. So
People are often confused because they think that the sound that you hear if you're doing a phone call is the quality of the microphone. The microphone's much higher quality. It's simply compression from a phone call that causes it to sound not as good.
Actually, in fact, this sounds better than it even sounds coming out of the little speakers on my iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
When Lisa gets the recording that her friend makes, it's going to sound pretty good. So if she already has a decent smartphone, she certainly could use that. Maybe that's the easiest. If you really want to do a lot of audio recording, this for $99, the Zoom H1N Handy Recorder is a really good choice. Really nice microphones. Actually, I don't know if it would sound a whole lot better than the iPhone. That's pretty good sound. All right, time to talk to our car guy. He's principal researcher at Guidehouse Insights. He is the host of the Wheel Bearings podcast at wheelbearings.media. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Sam Abuelsamid. Hi, Sam.
Hello.
Happy New Year, gentlemen.
Happy New Year.
Did you go to CES?
Oh, man, did I go to CES. I got back Friday night. I flew out there on last Saturday, and got back on Friday night. In the course of 4.5 days, I did over 40 meetings, briefings, a few press conferences, and walked about 32 miles.
Wow. One night at Vegas is like a year in any other place, as Murray
Pretty much,
used to say. Yeah.
You did CES.
I did. And I can also heartily recommend the Zoom H1N. I have one. I've been using them for years. And the H1N is the newer one. It's a big improvement over the original H1, which I had. The main difference, the main improvement compared to the H1, they made some changes in the interface, the buttons, layout, and everything, so it's a little easier to use. But also, they went from a single AA battery to 2 AAA batteries. The original H1 would chew through those AA's like you wouldn't believe. So the H1N does a lot better.
Good. Yeah, I forgot to mention you have to buy batteries for that. Phone might be a better choice.
Batteries is not included.
Phone gets better and better, and you don't need an external microphone for your smartphone. So, Sam, was there a lot of car action at CES this year?
There was a lot of automotive-related action at CES. So let's start with Honda. The car, if you're watching the video stream right now, the car that's behind me here is the Honda Series Zero Saloon. Honda actually showed off 2 concepts, 2 Series Zero concepts. The other is the Space Hub, which is a sort of van-like vehicle. And the design language that you see here is apparently the direction they're going for their new EVs that they're launching starting in 2026 on their own dedicated EV platform.
So we should mention a concept car. It means they're not going to make this car, right?
Not necessarily. I mean, in most cases, they don't make that exact car. But what you see here with this car, it's a very sleek, swoopy,
it's super cool looking.
One box, some
very
people described it almost as Lamborghini-like. Yeah, it's very aerodynamic. And talking to the people at Honda, this is very much the design direction that they're going for the first Series Zero car in 2026.
Wow. This looks like the Jetsons would be driving this.
It does kind of look like that.
It's really goofy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You think it's goofy?
I think it's goofy.
Is it safe, Sam? I mean, it doesn't look like they have much crumple zone in the front.
Well, actually, they do, because the passenger compartment is actually set surprisingly far back when you look at it in profile. Oh, okay. You'll see it's actually it's actually quite a large car. This is a big sedan.
EVs tend to be, because the batteries are big and heavy, right?
Well, they don't necessarily have to be.
No, my wife has a Mini Cooper, but it's only got 90-mile range.
Right.
I've got 90-mile range.
Even for what they're doing here, this is the production version is probably this is larger than a Honda Accord.
Wow.
And
more expensive?
I think we have no idea at this point. It's still 2 years away. Right. But the production version will probably be somewhat smaller, but will have these kinds of design themes. This very sleek design. So we'll wait and see.
Is there a practical reason for that kind of design? Is there more to it than just we want to make it look like it's from the future? Why do this kind of huge windshield? Because we see that, I feel like I've seen that a lot with electrical vehicles in particular, the huge windshield and the sort of bubble front that looks very sleek. Does that help with getting better range?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things you want with an EV is you want really low aerodynamic drag, because a big part of operating an EV is getting the regenerative braking. So what you want to do is you want to be able to recapture as much kinetic energy through regenerative braking as you possibly can. So if you have a lot of aerodynamic drag, the air is going to be slowing the car down, and you're not going to have as much of your kinetic. So the kinetic energy is going to be going into overcoming the aerodynamic drag. What you want is as little friction from the air, from the road, from the rolling resistance, as little friction anywhere else as possible, so that all of that energy can go back into the battery, and that will help your range. In the case of this here, this is a particularly extreme example of that. But in general, you want better aero for EVs, and this is, like I said, this is kind of the overall direction they're going, but it's not exactly what it's going to look like. So we'll know more probably later next year or sometime in early 2026 what the production model is going to look like.
Did Honda talk about the solid state battery that they're considering? Is it?
No.
Okay.
I mean, there's no technical details about this car, and frankly, I would not expect to see solid state batteries in any significant volume in production vehicles until towards the end of the decade.
Isn't that going to be the big kind of shift in EVs is newer battery tech?
Newer battery tech, but it may or may not be solid state.
Might be these lithium metal anode batteries they're talking about now.
Well, I mean, that is one form of solid state. Well, actually, it doesn't. Lithium metal, most of the solid state batteries are, lithium metal anode.
Oh, okay.
But it doesn't necessarily have to be solid state. Solid state is referring to the electrolyte material.
Right.
So current batteries use either a liquid or polymer gel electrolyte. And solid state batteries go to literally a solid material. So the whole thing, once the cell is formed, is one solid chunk of various materials.
Some of the things people want with their EVs is faster charging time. Right now, you're spending at least half an hour at a charging station to even get to 80% charge, and then of course longer battery life. Although so far the battery life on current EVs seems the lifetime seems pretty good.
Battery durability is not an issue.
Yeah.
And I think we probably need to be putting less emphasis on really fast charging, because that's not great for the batteries, and it also requires a lot of power to charge a battery quickly.
Oh, interesting.
I think what we need to focus more on, we need to have fast charging available in lots of places, for when people are taking longer trips. But what we really need to put more emphasis on is having AC charging, slower charging available in more areas, so that people that don't have access to dedicated off-street parking, those that live in apartments or even live in cities where they may have to park curbside, have access to curbside charging, because that is way more cost effective. There was a study that was actually just published by the University of Michigan Transportation Research Institute, where they did some cost analysis of the total cost of ownership of owning a gasoline vehicle versus an EV with AC charging and DC fast charging. And if you're using DC fast charging all the time, essentially you're not going to be saving any money on operating costs. It's going to cost you almost as much, and your payback time to recover the cost premium for an EV over a gas vehicle is, depending on the type of vehicle and the size of the battery, could be as much as 20 years.
Wow.
So we need to stop putting so much emphasis on having a gasoline fueling style experience for most people. That should be the exception rather than the rule for owning an EV.
So what?
You need to
Sorry, I
have
didn't mean to
AC
sidetrack.
charging everywhere.
Didn't mean to sidetrack you. What else did you see at CES?
Oh.
I know Honda's working on some other
yeah.
battery technologies, so I thought I'd ask. What else have you
Yeah.
seen? Yeah.
So large language models, generative AI.
AI, of course.
It's coming whether we like it or not.
Volkswagen said they're gonna put an AI in there.
I had a demo in a Volkswagen ID7.
Yeah.
So Volkswagen uses their voice recognition system that they use in their cars right now. It's from a company called Cerence, which used to be part of Nuance. Back in 2020 or 21, Nuance spun off their automotive division as a new company called Cerence. And they've been supplying most of the voice recognition systems for cars for the last 20 odd years. And so what they've done in the latest batch of Volkswagens for the European market, at least, is they have integrated a connection to ChatGPT. And what they're using it for, they've got a couple of different applications, but the main thing that it's being used for, if you've used voice recognition in your car, you have no doubt experienced the problem of trying to remember the right vocabulary that your voice rec system can actually understand the commands and process them. And so what they're doing is, if you happen to use the right commands, it will just get processed directly in the vehicle. If what you ask for cannot be understood by the voice recognition system, then it passes it over to ChatGPT, which reformats that, translates that into commands that the voice recognition system can ask for, can recognize. So one example that they gave me in the demo, and I've got a YouTube video I recorded that I'll put in the in the Discord.
Oh, good.
But an example they gave was, we were sitting in the car and she said, "Find me Italian restaurants nearby." And so it pulled up a list of nearby Italian restaurants from the point of interest database in the navigation system. Then she said, I'm in the mood for some pasta. And so that command got sent to ChatGPT, translated into "find me some Italian restaurants nearby." And then it came back, it sent that back to the car, searched the point of interest database, and came up with the exact same list of Italian restaurants.
So that's the thing, is that instead of saying "find me an Italian restaurant," you could say "I'm in the mood for pasta," and that's the feature.
They're trying to make it a more natural language conversation. Yeah. Okay. And this is what Volkswagen's doing.
Yeah.
Others, maybe doing slightly different things. You can also ask it, to provide some entertainment for you. And, an example they gave was, "tell me a story about dinosaurs."
No, I don't want that.
In that case,
no.
It'll just make something up.
Yes. No.
So it's
a gimmick.
It's still very early days. Well, I think the translation to provide more natural language capability to the voice recognition system is actually very useful. The storytelling stuff is kind of gimmicky, but that improving the natural language processing is definitely a very valuable thing, because that is absolutely something that frustrates people.
Yeah, less cognitive load when you're driving, right? Yeah,
absolutely.
If I have to think, okay, what is the exact way I need to talk to this thing to get what I want? Where instead, whatever actually flies in my head, oh boy, I'm running low on battery and I'm also hungry. And then it realizes, oh, it should look for a place to charge that's near a restaurant, and can sort of do that, as opposed to having to say, "Please direct me to," that actually makes sense.
Yeah, to be able to just say something, however you want to say it, and have it reformat that into something that the voice rec system can deal with, I think is actually very useful. And VW, they're launching that system in Europe in the second quarter of this year, and they're still considering whether to launch it in North America. And one of the reasons why it's more limited that way is because they don't want to run into the problem of hallucinations, and they don't want it providing information that may be not useful or controversial. So they actually explicitly have a lot of guardrails and filters built into it. So for a lot of questions, it will just say, "I'm sorry, I can't answer that for you right now." Like general information questions, it'll just say, "I'm sorry, I can't answer that for you." But for the natural language processing, I think it is actually very useful. And Mercedes-Benz also showed their concept CLA that they showed in Munich at the IAA show back last September, and gave more detail on that. And one of the things, they have a large language model in there, and that the production version of that car is coming next year as the next generation CLA. They developed that large language model with NVIDIA, and that whole car is powered by NVIDIA Orin processors. And then BMW was also demonstrating some stuff that they're doing with Amazon with large language models. So I think we're definitely going to see use of LLMs in cars in the next several years, and that voice processing is going to be the big thing.
So fascinating to think of my car having the same GPUs in it as the
it's amazing,
PC that I've built myself. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And different.
Yeah, well, and it's not entirely the same GPU.
Right, right.
They're using some of the same GPU cores, but they're also integrating, the SoCs that they're building, the systems on a chip that they're building for automotive, also integrate a lot of other, especially a lot of neural processing cores. Mm-hmm. And actually, Leo, going back to the conversation you were having with Paul and Richard on Windows Weekly earlier this week, they were talking about NPUs, neural processing units. And the key thing that I think they missed on that with these so-called neural processing units, GPUs can do a lot of these AI calculations, but they're essentially doing it through brute force. They are not optimized for this.
Richard was saying, it is basically an NPU is a GPU, but that's not the case,
it's not.
Really.
Yeah, it's actually quite different.
Yeah,
a GPU is really has become more of a general purpose processor than just a graphics processor. But because it's so highly parallelized, it can do a decent job of running these AI workloads. But it's not actually it's very power inefficient to do it that way. And so these NPUs are actually very specifically designed. They're specifically designed to do matrix math operations. So multiplying, dividing, adding matrices, because that's what you need to do for all this AI processing is a lot of matrix math. So they're very highly optimized for that. And that's what we're starting to see in cars now. So we're seeing chips like those from companies like Ambarella, from the NVIDIA chips have some of these NPU cores in there, but Qualcomm is also doing them. Others like Recogni are also doing this because they're much more power efficient at doing those same workloads than a pure GPU. And that's especially important going back to what we were talking about earlier with aerodynamics. What you want is efficiency across the board with an EV, so you can get the maximum amount of range from the least amount of battery. Some of these GPU-based processors are consuming hundreds of watts to do their job, and that's not great in an EV. Right. You need to reduce that down to the tens of watts. And that's what these NPUs are help to do.
Yeah, Apple's been building NPUs into its hardware since the iPhone came out in, I think, 2017, 2015. And of course, all of their new M1, M2, and M3 processors have neural processors, but PCs haven't. And now Intel and others are starting to do that. Qualcomm says by middle of this year they'll have a Qualcomm ARM processor that will have an NPU built in for Windows users. That's what we were talking about on Windows Weekly. What else?
And they already have that for cars too.
Yeah, because cars need AI for self-driving and other things, right? It's not just for the driver. What else? Yeah. Who had the best booth? What car man had the best booth at CES? Well, Lexus has had a good one for years.
There were a limited number of actual automakers at CES this year. There's a lot of suppliers.
Huh.
It's the number of automakers that participate directly in CES has been declining for a number of years. So there was Hyundai, Kia, Mercedes-Benz, Honda. The Honda booth was very dark, as you can see from that photo. It was very dark. Not great lighting there. Probably the Mercedes booth was probably the most interesting of the automaker booths. Kia also had a nice stand. They actually had two. They had a booth inside the West Hall and then another one out in the Central Plaza, with their smart home stuff. So they had a couple of EVs that were connected to things in the home. So that was kind of interesting. I generally don't pay a lot of attention to the booths themselves, but more the technology that they're showing. One actually really cool thing that I saw, the company called Eaton that's been around for a long time. They make they're an automotive supplier, but they're also involved in a lot of other sectors as well. They have what is essentially a tiny EV charging system. And what it is, if you looked at the circuit breaker panel in your home, those little breaker boxes that are in there, if you get an overload on one of your circuits, it trips the breaker and you got to go flip the switch back. Well, they have a charging system that is essentially a dual slot breaker form factor. So it can go right into a circuit breaker panel. Takes up two slots in your circuit breaker panel. It has all the communications, the Wi-Fi and everything to communicate with your network, but also the communications to talk to the car when you plug it in, and then from there an electrician just has to run cable out to either an outlet in your garage, or you could actually have it hardwired with the charging connector right on there. And so that that simplifies things. You don't necessarily need to have a wall box with this system. So it simplifies the installation. So that was an interesting thing.
Who makes that? Actually, and when is that going to be available?
It's a company called Eaton.
ETON.
ETON.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. And that's I think it's actually available now through electricians. So if you're looking to set up charging in your home, and you can also for somebody like for an apartment building, for example, in the garage, if they want to set up charging stations in an apartment building garage or even a public garage, all you need is just a panel, and then just put in a bunch of these units in the panel, and then just run the wiring out to each parking space, and you don't have to install a whole bunch of wall box chargers in there.
It's actually EATON. I was thinking of ETON, which is the solar company. This is EATON. And that's really cool. We had to bring an electrician out and put in a NEMA 1450 plug for our charging.
And you'll still need an electrician to install this. Right. But it really simplifies the work.
And this solves that thing you were talking about, which is getting AC charging more widely available, because if you're going to have an EV, you need to be able to charge it up.
The other thing that's going to help with that is actually something that happened in December, just before Christmas, was the release of the new SAE J3400 standard. So SAE is the Society of Automotive Engineers. And among the things that they do is they develop standards, industry standards for all kinds of things. They developed the original J1772 standard, which is the current plug that you find on non-Tesla vehicles.
This looks just like a NACS connector.
It is. So J3400 is the standard. So they took
the Tesla connector.
They took the Tesla connector,
and
developed standards around it so that so that everybody could work to these standards for interoperability. And but there's some additional advantages of it relative to what because Tesla, their standards, their communications and everything were more limited because it was only designed to work with their cars. So what they did, since they're taking this opportunity to develop a new standard, is they added some things to it, like the current J1772 standard is designed for 240 volt systems, which is what you typically have in your house. So you have 480 volts coming in, that goes through a transformer, gets stepped down, and it goes to 240 volts. And your 240 volt outlets, or your 240 volt, your typical level 2 chargers at home are run on 240 volts, which means they have to have extra transformers in there, because the 480 volts that's coming from the power lines outside your house, that is 3-phase. And in the US, we use single phase alternating current. And I'm not going to go through all the math, but basically, if you take a single phase of a 3-phase 40-volt circuit, what you actually have is 277 volts.
Oh, dear.
And so all the 240-volt stuff, you have to have transformers that step it down from 277 to 240. Well, the J3400 standard specifies that this is meant to work with anything up to 277 volts on a single phase.
Nice.
The reason why that's important is because things like light poles that are out on the curb and other public utilities, those all actually run at 277 volts, not 240.
Right.
And so what we can now do is we can start putting outlets on light poles and other public infrastructure that runs at 277 volts. And all you need is a cord to plug in to that and plug into your car.
That's huge.
And you don't have to install charging, all kinds of other charging equipment or transformers. So it makes it a lot simpler. Plus, going from 240 to 277, you can charge 25% faster. Yeah. And it's actually because you're eliminating that transformer in there, it's also more efficient. So it's about 3 to 4% more efficient. So it's going to cost you less for electricity, or less wasted. You're not wasting electricity as heat in that transformer. So a lot of advantages to that. And we're going to start seeing that rolling out into vehicles towards the end of this year.
Yeah. Now, I, of course, have the old 1772 in my new EV, but there'll be an adapter we can use, right, to use the new.
Yes.
But I won't ever be able to use 277.
Those should be coming out in the spring. Okay. The CCS to NACS adapter, or NACS to CCS adapters.
Nice.
So you'd be able to plug into a supercharger and charge it off of that, or a Tesla destination charger at various locations like hotels and a lot of restaurants.
Yeah, it's a little disappointing that a lot of these hotels have Tesla destination chargers instead of standard chargers, which is okay. So good. I'll get an adapter. Sam, always a pleasure. Sounds like you're just recovering from, what did you say? Was that a joke, or did you really go 32 miles?
I flew out last Saturday. I got in Saturday afternoon into Vegas, and I came back. I got back Friday night. I should have been home about 6, but it was closer to about 8:30 by the time I got home, because it was snowing here when I got home.
Oh,
and we just barely made it in. Within about a half hour after we landed, they closed the runways at Detroit Metro Airport, and no more flights were going in or out.
Wow.
So there were a lot of people sitting in Detroit Metro Airport going nowhere on Friday night. But we managed to get in.
Survive that Arctic chill in Ypsilanti.
Well, it's like 6 or 7 degrees outside right now.
Yikes.
It's supposed to go down to -3 tonight.
Yikes. Sam Abuelsamid, Principal Researcher, Guidehouse Insights, and of course, the Wheel Bearings podcast, where you'll hear a lot more about this at wheelbearings.media. Thank you, Sam.
Thanks so much.
Always a pleasure to chat with you guys.
Always a pleasure. Take care.
Right,
we will, Father Robert Ballacer was also at CES, and we're going to hear from him. His CES report's coming up in about half an hour. But we're going to get back to the calls.
Yes, and speaking of which, if you went to call.twit.tv and you're hanging out in our Zoom right now, I see many people hanging out in the Zoom, but there's only one individual who has their hand raised. So if you're hanging out and you just are hanging out, that's fine. But if you actually have a question, please make sure to go to the bottom of the screen and find the hand and click it. That means that your hand is raised, and that means you actually have a question.
And the hands are going up all over Zoom land. Who should we talk to? Let's take our little pause, the pause that refreshes, and then you can get our next caller up, if you would. Super genius producer man, John Ashley.
And I'm going to pick up on Cliff. Sorry, that was the pause. I just interrupted the pause, but that's okay. Because now we're going to talk to Cliff.
Hello, Cliff.
Hello, how are you all?
We're great. Where are you calling from?
Calling from Santa Barbara, California.
Lovely. How's the Arctic chill in Santa Barbara?
Well, I am wearing shorts, so the Arctic chill is not hitting Santa Barbara.
Very nice. What can we do
for a walk? Got a little warm, had to wear shorts, and I'm going to mow the yard today. So.
Oh, wow.
I love Santa Barbara. Beautiful area. What can we do for you?
Well, I'm sitting at my desk at home, and I have a 27-inch iMac 2018. Unfortunately, it only has 8 gig of memory, and it it just is so slow that I'm looking to upgrade to a new computer. But I love the 27-inch screen factor. So it hasn't come out yet. Any recommendations? For example, should I get an iMac with just a nice big screen? Or I like the all-in-one factor because it keeps things clean. So I appreciate your thoughts on that.
Ooh, okay.
As a Mac Studio owner.
So I am so with you. I remember the first iMac that I owned and loving the fact that everything was just right there. It was all built in. I didn't have to worry about it. And unfortunately, during college, I needed to have a device I could take with me. And so I started using a MacBook Pro and got the Thunderbolt display to go along with it. And so I'd come home or back to my dorm and I would plug it into the side. And so things were still pretty clean. So I'm a big advocate for that sort of all-in-one factor that Apple provides itself. And so as someone who currently uses a Mac Studio paired with Apple's, now I'm forgetting the name of it because it's a Studio Display, I quite like that form factor.
The Studio Display has a foot that you could put the Mac.
Not the Studio. There's no room for the Studio. There's room for the Mini.
The Mini would fit, but the Studio doesn't.
The Studio doesn't. Yeah. But all you have is that cable that runs to the Mac Studio, and then you've got your speakers, and all of that's all built in.
It's pretty close.
It comes close to what you.
And I would get a Mini. Is there any reason you should get a Studio as opposed to a Mini?
I think. Obviously, it always depends on what you're doing specifically, what you regularly do with your device. But if you've been just fine with an iMac,
a 2018 Intel-based iMac,
a Mini, especially if it's Apple Silicon, which it would
that's
be,
gonna be a big
it's
jump.
going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
There's some argument I think to be made that perhaps it's worth waiting to see if a 27-inch iMac makes its way. Gurman has suggested that on a number of occasions that we will see one of those. But if you are hurting, I think you'll be plenty happy with a Mac Mini. And the good thing about it is, if you decide suddenly that you want to have a bigger screen than what the Mac Studio provides, or you decide to change things out, since the peripherals are separate, I think it becomes much easier than the all-in-one factor. Leo's talked a lot about that having those things be separate means that you can kind of upgrade the parts that you need to and leave the computer itself alone because it's good to go for quite a period of time.
The irony is the Mini will cost about half as much as the monitor.
Yeah, which is unfortunate.
I recently, for Christmas, I bought Lisa a Mac Studio display.
Oh, yeah, how is she?
Because she was really tired of this kind of the separates life. She has separate camera, separate microphone, and she has a Mac Studio. So it really is a beautiful display. I have to say, putting it side by side with her, I think she has it's a pretty fancy gaming display, the Predator. Mm-hmm. It's better. It's a better display. The colors are brighter, crisper, I think more accurate. It's a nice display. I think the Studio display is overkill because it's basically got the guts of an iPhone in a display. Yeah. The speakers sound good. The microphone sounds terrible.
Yes.
Can't use the microphone. Camera is disappointing. It should be better than it is, but it's okay.
It's okay, exactly.
And so that gives you a lot of the reason you would get it, despite the fact that it's $1,600, which is an awful lot of money. But the reason you would get it is it gives you much of that all-in-one experience. The only thing that's separate, you get the camera, the microphone, the speakers. Mm-hmm. The only thing that's separate is the Mini. And since that sits on that foot, it almost looks like...
It feels like it's one device.
Like an iMac.
Yeah.
But what is Gurman saying for the 27-inch? I think he's
just sometime this year.
Pretty certain it's going to come out. Everybody seems to think that Apple is going to do a new iMac. Mm-hmm. And a bigger one, you think?
Yeah, yeah, that's right. It might even be
currently
bigger.
It's 21, which is not ideal.
Right. Yeah, you wouldn't want to get the 21.
24, sorry. 24.
Or 24, yep, thank you. But the 27
I'm thinking of 20. I'm thinking a bigger screen in the same 27-inch form factor if they...
I'd love to see Apple do a 30-inch iMac.
That would be
with
cool.
an M3.
Like an iMac.
And that is a possible, but we just don't know, and Apple's not telling.
Exactly. Yeah, so, we don't know for sure.
So either the Studio to give me the similar look of the iMac, or the Mac Mini, recognizing that I'm going to have a separate little camera for when I do video conferencing from home, because I do work from home occasionally. I I'll just have to look. Obviously, the Mac Mini with a nice.
You could get a great display for a lot less.
Yes, exactly.
From
Yeah,
other manufacturers, absolutely.
Yeah. Would you recommend like a Dell?
Dell makes some very good and inexpensive displays. I like LG's personally. Okay. I don't. I have an. It's funny. I have an OLED display, a 55-inch OLED display on my Mac Studio, which I really like, but they've discontinued it. I don't know if that's because it's more expensive.
They just came out with some new OLED.
Did they? There are new
monitors.
Ones. Okay, good.
At CES.
So that would be something if you really want superb display quality.
Alienware, which is Dell.
That's what I have, is an Alienware OLED.
So
they must have. That's why they discontinued it. They replaced it with a newer model.
The Verge awarded it with the best monitor at CES.
How big is it?
And it's actually available for sale. It's 31.5 inches,
Nice.
240 hertz refresh rate,
Beautiful.
4K resolution,
Beautiful.
QD OLED.
Very nice.
And it is a curved one.
It's gonna be pricey.
It's $1,200.
Oh, so it's less.
That's
about $400 less.
Yeah.
Than the Mac Studio display, and that'll be beautiful.
Yeah.
QD OLED will be
Much
gorgeous. So it's bigger,
it's faster,
better quality, faster refresh rate, and it costs $400 less.
Yeah.
Get the Alienware.
But it doesn't have the Apple logo.
It doesn't have the Apple logo, and
Hey, you can just take a sticker from your iPhone box, put it on the back. You'll be
doesn't
fine.
have a built-in camera, so consider that. Doesn't have
and speakers.
built-in speakers, or the microphone is so bad that I wouldn't consider that the Studio display has a decent microphone. So. You'd still want an external.
So I guess the last question is, hold out in the hopes that they will come out with a.
Well, it could be holding out for.
iMac?
You could be holding out for 9 months.
Yeah, we don't know when it's going to come. I think it's if it was me, if you're wondering what I would do in that situation, I think that if your machine is running just fine as it is, then I would wait just to see. And then, when you start to feel like, I can't wait anymore, then you make the choice. Okay, fine, I'll just hop onto something new. But, some people feel the need to do it sooner rather than later, and I respect that too. So maybe you just want to hop right now.
Is the Studio display 5K or?
It's 5K.
It's 5K. Mm-hmm. So that is something different because
that's true.
I'm sure that's a 4K, monitor. There is from Samsung a 5K 27-inch Viewfinity smart monitor that looks almost identical, and this is $1,200 to the Studio display. It's even got the little foot, but the camera, which is built in, but it pops up from behind. I think. It's the slim fit camera. So I think I think you're going to get a better monitor if you shop around.
Yes, for less, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Although I have to say,
I'm not made out of money. So
right.
I like a nice looking monitor, but I don't need to spend Apple money.
You can.
But at the same time, I'm saying I might buy a new big iMac when they come out, if they come out later this year, and I would gladly spend all the money for that.
There you go.
See?
Then save the money, and then hopefully you can splurge on getting that 27, and then you can buy more RAM for it because you saved the money.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. The RAM is what I think. I only have 8. And,
that's barely usable.
Everything's slow.
Yeah.
Especially with Intel.
Everything's slow. Yeah.
You'd get, the other thing to look at is maybe as a stopgap. Do you have a monitor of any kind?
No, I just have the iMac at home.
Because I would also a Mac Mini.
For work, I've got a 17.
Yeah, the M2 Mac Mini with a cheap monitor would be not a bad stopgap. Probably all in for less than $1,000 if you got a Dell.
And you could trade it in.
That's true.
When the now we're really enabling you though.
So much faster. It would be so much faster.
Yeah, exactly.
Even
I used to be a real tech guy, but now I want something. I want to do it once, so I don't think I'll do a stopgap.
Yeah.
That's fair.
That makes
because
sense.
it takes so long to set up a new computer the way you want it.
Right.
So I think, per your advice, this is slow. I just need to keep closing things. It works fine. Keep with that. Wait till the summer, see if the rumors are true, and go from there.
Let me see your T-shirt. What does it say?
It's I've talked to your kids, so I prefer dogs.
Amen.
Especially dogs in red spectacles. What kind of dog do you have?
I have a pit bull. He's out sleeping on the couch right now.
Ironically, they're very good with kids.
Yes, people do.
I have 4 great nephews, and they've come up since they were less than a year old.
Nice.
I've got pictures of them with with his paw in their mouth, and he's just laying there.
Oh,
just
yeah.
happy as
Pits get a bad reputation
do,
because of the
but
way
they're
people train them, but
so
supposedly
sweet.
they're very good with
Yeah,
kids.
they're
Very
super,
sweet. Yeah.
super sweet.
I've got family
And I
nearby who has
advocate
one.
for them 100%.
Oh, good.
Anytime I see a pit bull on the street, I always stop, ask if they rescued them or
Right.
the rescue fund thank them for that, because I volunteer at a local
Nice.
rescue called Shadows Fund, which is old dogs, pit bulls, and other dogs in need. And
That's
it's a great rescue for a great breed.
Do they have a website we can tell people about?
Shadowsfund.org.
Shadowsfund.org.
Yeah. And
Awesome.
they're located in Lompoc. They're named after the first dog that made them recognize the need to have a rescue for pit bulls. They're located in Lompoc in a big farm. They've got horses, pigs, baby squirrels that we rescue in the spring. They always go out and help find other lost animals. They're great with training dogs, making sure the fit between the family and the dog, so that the dog doesn't have to be returned because it's not a good fit. So I could spend half an hour on Shadows Fund, but you're right, Leo. Just go to their website. They are extraordinary in terms of both rescuing individual dogs and the programs that they've set up that will help all dogs in California.
Oh, isn't that sweet?
Shadowsfund.org.
Fund. Yeah, I thought it was fun at first, but it's F-U-N-D.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, I'm not going to show this to Lisa.
You must. Jill and Cody are fantastic. They're friends of mine, but they're also the founders.
That's nice.
And they are just incredible people for an incredible breed, but they also do horses, pigs. I mean, try talking about taking care of 1,000-pound pig.
No.
They're just fantastic.
That reminds
fantastic people.
That reminds me, the last rumor between Gurman and Ming-Chi Kuo said that a 32-inch iMac would be coming in 2024 or 2025.
Yeah.
So
this is the problem. You could be waiting for nothing. We don't know.
Yeah.
In fact,
it's been 2 years?
Yeah.
Since 3 years since the 20. I don't know what the balloons are for.
That's because you are a Mac.
Oh, did I?
I've got a video. About how to turn that off.
There's a little green icon in your menu bar on the right. You can turn off the reaction.
I'm gonna keep my hands down here.
When I FaceTime my mom, I always do this and this. And how do you do rain?
Oh, I don't remember what rain
I can never
is.
get the heart. Maybe it's because I'm not a millennial, so my heart is not. I can never get the
rain
heart
thumbs
to work.
down. Rain is thumbs down.
Rain's thumbs down. Yeah, and then yeah, that's fun. You do.
I'm not moving. I'm not moving my head.
Your Honor, I am not a cat.
Hey, a pleasure talking to you, and I'm glad we could give a little plugs out for Shadows Fund. That's great. And just again, the word of warning: when you're waiting for Apple, you may be waiting for nothing, because nobody really knows what Apple will do. And I think there's some credible thinking that Apple doesn't want to do iMacs anymore, except for that little skinny one, the little
school one.
Yeah.
Fisher Price.
We'll see. I think I like the Factor so much. I'll wait till the summer, see if the
they are gorgeous.
Solidify.
Yeah. I have to say, I'd be tempted by a 32-inch iMac. I sure would. Yeah. Hey, it's a pleasure talking to you. Thank you. Take care. I'm going to do another email since I got my hand way back here in the cookie jar. Anyway, I got two.
A mousetrap.
This comes from Rex. Hi, Rex. I have an Android phone, Samsung. What is your advice now that Facebook Messenger is dropping support for SMS messages? It was really convenient to have one app that linked both Facebook and SMS. By the way, this is a really cool feature of Android. If you have a messaging app that supports SMS, you can use it as your default messenger. Unlike Apple, where you have to use Apple's Messages app, you can use it. So Signal is one. Telegraph, I think does SMS.
Yeah, there are several.
There's certainly Android and Samsung, Google and Samsung both have Messages apps. Here's my hope, my fervent hope. Now that Apple has said, and we'll see how much they do this, that they're going to support this new RCS. Here's the problem. Everybody's using a different messaging system, right? Mm-hmm. What you want, and I understand why you want Facebook Messenger to support SMS, you want one messaging app that will work for all the people in your life. And if you use Signal, for instance, you generally have to tell everybody, please use Signal, that kind of thing. RCS may solve this. We used, it frustrates me because we used to have cross-platform messaging protocols that everybody could use, like XMPP, Matrix, the Matrix protocol, that everybody could use, but each company wants the proprietary, it's our way or the highway system. And falling back to SMS is not a good solution because SMS is so antiquated and problematic. Phone companies don't want to support it because they have to keep extra old hardware lying around. It's just a bad solution. So finally, Google, which has been pushing RCS, Rich Communication Services, has finally got most of the phone companies to support it. Apple's now coming along. It is my fervent hope that we'll see RCS. Now, once RCS takes over from SMS, then I would say you'll probably want to use the Samsung or the Google solution, because you'll get all the benefits of Facebook Messenger, the icons and thumbs up and stuff like that. But you'll also get cross-platform compatibility, and RCS will then work with Apple Messages and everybody else's solution. And I think RCS is so open that perhaps we can even expect everybody else to adopt RCS, like Telegram and Signal and
maybe even
WhatsApp.
Facebook Messenger.
Yeah. For your purposes, maybe WhatsApp is the solution. That's the default that the universe has settled on. You can use WhatsApp. Actually, I don't know. I don't have my Android phone with me, but I think you can use WhatsApp as your default messenger. Signal, for sure you can.
I think Signal.
Oh, no, Signal's taking SMS out as well.
Well, I was just thinking, though, WhatsApp, because it's owned by Meta, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if it supports Facebook Messenger messages within WhatsApp itself.
Maybe. Right now, we're at this position. It's basically what he really wants, though, is it to be his default messenger.
Yeah,
so that all the messages that come into your Android phone end up in whatever this app is. It's going to be a while before RCS becomes widely used, probably by the end of this year, I would hope. Then that will be the solution that everybody will want to adopt. Meanwhile, you've got Samsung Messenger and you've got Google Messages. I would probably use Google Messages. That'll support SMS and messaging with a lot of nice features, and RCS, by the way. So you might not have to even abandon that. I look at a lot of messaging apps. There's some wonderful features out there, but until it's cross-platform, it's no good. I can't get my family to move, let alone everybody I know to move to a single messenger.
Sorry, I'm only available on this platform.
That's why WhatsApp is kind of the default. I would say most people now in the world have two messaging apps, the one that comes with their phone and WhatsApp, right? That's kind of the way most people end up doing it. I'm hopeful RCS
especially
will
outside
solve
of the US.
this. Yeah. Joe Llewellyn.
Hello, Joe.
He's KCMO.
Oh. Wow.
I have a client with their own domain, a pool company. And recently, is there a .pool?
There should be.
And recently, within a couple of months, I noticed all their emails to Gmail recipients are lost. No bounce back, no junk or spam folder, just gone. I'm assuming Gmail is blacklisted the domain, yes. So moving the domain host or contacting email is not a solution. How do you get off Google's bad list? You can't. I could figure out a workaround at work. So here's the issue. Spam is a big problem. Google is a big company. They have, I don't remember what percentage of email. More than half of all email goes through Gmail now. So they have enough clout to say, no. If you do not support the authentication protocols, DKIM and SPF, there's three of them, DMARC, DKIM, and SPF, we're not going to let your mail through. And that a lot of domains cannot email to Gmail. And if you are a company and you cannot mail Gmail, your mail is useless. This is where I recommend our sponsor, Fastmail.
Absolutely.
Now, here's what your pool company can do. You keep your website, you keep your domain name. You go to Fastmail. You say, I want to use you for my outbound email. I want to use you for my inbound if you want. I want to associate it, and you can do this with Fastmail with this domain name. And when you do that, in fact, I can even show you. Let me show you real quickly. When you do that at Fastmail, they will automatically enable all of the protocols that will make sure your email gets through to Google. And that's what you want. So I've got all my domains here. hosted on my Fastmail account. In fact, look at this. This one, DKIM and SPF records are needed, right? Micah is cool.pizza. I had to finally let that go. I hope you don't mind.
No, you had that. That's hilarious.
Yeah. I don't know if I had it, but let me pick one. Okay, so let's edit the DNS, and I'll show you real quickly. We'll manage this. You get to say these settings. So I own this domain name, right? So I don't want to go through all that right now, but I own this domain name. What's nice is that then Fastmail, as your mail provider, does the important steps to make it compatible so that it will go through to Google. I never have any trouble getting my emails through to Gmail because all of my email supports DKIM, SPF, and DMARC, the three big authentication protocols. And Google increasingly is demanding that. Now, so that's the first thing I do. It may be that Google has blacklisted the domain. I don't think it has. I think it's because you're sending email from an email provider that doesn't do the right thing with authentication. So take your domain name, move it to Fastmail. You don't have to move the web part, just the email part to Fastmail. They'll set up the appropriate authentication, which otherwise doing by yourself is hard. I've done it. It's terrible. Once you've got that set up, now your email should go swimmingly through to all email providers because they can see you are who you say you are, right? You're not spam. So this is, you just move the email over. You could move the web over if you wanted to, but I wouldn't. I would just move the email over, and that would be the solution. If, however, Google has for some reason in their infinite wisdom blocked your domain name, I don't think they have, but if they have, you're in trouble. And this is a long-standing problem with email blacklists. There isn't really a great way to get off a blacklist, and Google maintains their own, and they're very opaque about it. So I don't really know how they do that, and I certainly don't know of a way to appeal it. There might be, maybe there's an address somewhere at Google. Good luck. Then all of this is about spam, right? Thank you, spammers, for making this a world where email doesn't work anymore.
Micah is cool.pizza spam email.
Let me recheck the DNS on that. Oh, it's rating for DNS changes. I see. The DNS is not yet pointing to Fastmail, so I should do that. And it's a pretty straightforward thing to do.
Fastmail makes it so easy. Yeah. I was very impressed because I use Hover, for previous sponsor on the network, for my domains. And
you can keep that, by the way.
And what's that?
You can still have Hover.
Oh yeah, and I do.
Have
I do.
Fastmail do the MX record. That's the email.
And that's precisely what I did. Yeah. I bought Micah.email on Hover.
Nice.
And I set it up with Fastmail to do the email part of it.
So you don't get bounced mails.
I do not.
As a result,
they all go through.
I don't know what I'm doing wrong with Micah is cool, but I'm gonna work on that. This is, by the way, I'll show you. Can look at this. This is the tricky part. This is the stuff you don't want to have to set. Is down here is all this special stuff.
Look at all that.
Allows receivers to know you send your mail via Fastmail and other servers. This is all authentication stuff. It's a big deal, and you don't want to mess with that. You really don't want to mess with that. So, I would suggest letting Fastmail. And they are a sponsor, but they do it so well. It's hard to not recommend them in this case.
They're actually a sponsor of this very episode.
They are. We love them. Should we do another call, Mr.?
I have a couple of phone calls.
Producer?
Oh, look, some raised hands.
Pick up on, what is it? It's not probably Scott, but we're find out.
Hello, probably Scott.
*6.
Leo Laporte.
Hello, how are you? What's your name?
Inspector Deschapeau.
Oh, it's my hat man.
Ah.
Yes, sir. How are you?
I am very, very well. How are you?
Hey, good. Well, I'm in the middle of a move, so
I'm sorry.
How many hats do you have to move?
It's not the hats. It's 31 years of collecting junk. So it's a long story. I'm moving back into an apartment I lived in for 31 years before the building went up in flames. So now 5.5 years.
Oh, you
later,
finally get to go home. Wow.
Finally get to go back to my cheap rent-controlled apartment.
Oh, that's nice.
But,
I'm glad you're going to get to go back. That's great. And it'll all be fresh and new and modern.
Very much so,
Yeah.
yes, indeed. The 100-year-old building is now a new building.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I called you for advice. I told you I was getting my first PC, and I wanted to hook it up to my TV to make my TV a monitor. There was this dead silence, and you were like, "You want to do what?"
I think I was.
And you know why I wanted?
Thinking it was a bad idea. Was I think? Did you do
They
it?
didn't have HDMI back then.
Yeah.
So, you
Yeah.
DVI and all that business. But the reason I wanted to do that was because before then I had web TV.
I remember
How far
that.
ahead of the times was Microsoft with that idea?
Yeah. Of course, it failed, but
But the concept was there.
the concept
At
wasn't a
any
bad
rate,
idea. Yeah, I remember it. It was actually a very cool idea. It was a box, right?
I guess I don't remember much about. I think I had a keyboard with it.
Yeah. Here,
something.
yeah.
I don't-
It has a.
I'll have
I'll
to
show
look it
you
up.
this is what it looked like. It looks a little bit like a TiVo, and it had a keyboard and a remote. And
Okay.
and the idea was, I don't even remember what TV was it to. There weren't any streaming channels.
There was a reason.
I think you had to have a cable subscription at home.
Probably. Yeah. At any rate.
Yeah.
you there?
At any rate, it was before. It was too early. Clearly now it would not be an unreasonable thing to do. Yeah.
Well, every TV's
It's a web TV, isn't it?
really.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
At any rate, here's the reason I'm calling. I'm going to take a page out of Steve Gibson's book, and I am going to upgrade to Windows 10.
Yeah.
So,
From which version of Windows are you on now?
well, 7, thank you.
Oh, good. At least you're not on Windows 8. Okay.
Okay, so here's the deal. I know you've answered this.
You waited a little
question
too
many
long, by
times
the way,
before.
because until about 2 months ago, you could have upgraded to Windows 10 for free, and they finally
you're
turned
kidding me.
that. They finally turned that off.
Dang it.
Oh, lost me.
Yeah. So
What happens?
Go ahead.
Well, I keep getting this pop-up every time I turn
You'll
on
have
my
to
PC.
pay them.
It says,
Yeah, they want you to do it, but you'll have to pay
it
them.
says Google Drive doesn't like you anymore. Here,
Yeah.
upgrade.
Yeah.
Then they're going to send me a.
Nobody likes you anymore with Windows 7.
Oh yes.
You can't get the real problem is you can't get a modern browser, and that's really the issue. Of course, you're not getting patches to Windows 7, but given that it was around for a long time and patched pretty consistently for at least a decade, you're probably all right there. But you can't get a modern browser, and that's what you really need to do things
Well,
like Google
I get
Drive.
updates to Defender.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't. Yeah, you're going to get your antivirus updated. But the reason Google Drive's unhappy is you can't get a version of Chrome that is modern, the latest, And so they say, well, you're using an old insecure version of the browser. We can't allow you to. So yeah, it's time.
any
But
rate.
you're going to spend now. Here's a little hint. First of all, don't go to 10. You're going to go straight to 11.
No, I'm not worthy, Leo. Not worthy of 11.
It's the same.
Yeah, Windows 11 is Windows 10.
Oh, you're saying your hardware won't work. That may be the case.
Right.
Because you have to have TPM 2.0. You have to have an 8th generation or later Intel processor. Yeah, you may not be worthy.
Exactly.
So
I don't
Windows
feel like
10.
upgrading. I love my PC. That Sandy Bridge is fine with me.
So normally it's going to be $140. However, there are completely legitimately. Let's put it this way. I bought a $25 license for my Mac because there are around completely legitimately people who are selling Windows licenses that were associated with an OEM machine that somebody didn't use, a variety of different ways. So I was able to find a inexpensive.
I wish I'd known about this.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to do that to boot Windows on a Mac.
Yeah, you need one, for instance, for if you're using Parallels. So, excuse me. This is a Tom's Hardware article that I found, and I figured, well, I trust Tom's Hardware for this. And I read this article, and they walk you through it, but they tell you where you can get. This is a variety of ways to do it, but you can get a inexpensive license from a third-party seller, about $20. And the one I used is the one they're showing here, which is Kinguin.
Right.
This is not illegal.
Know that name.
Yeah, Kinguin.
I bought games from them.
You have, okay. They sell, but what I would say is go to Tom's Hardware because they have discount codes.
Right.
And then you click that
here's
code,
another.
and you get a 10% discount or 3% or whatever. But I was able to get Windows 11 for, I think, $25, something like that. And it's real.
Okay,
it's legit.
here's a question.
Yeah.
Here's a question. I do have a laptop with 10 on it.
Oh. No, I don't think you can then take that license and move it over.
Okay, so now let's get down to brass tacks.
It's attached to that. It's attached to that laptop, unfortunately.
Okay, so I have a C and D drive. My C drive is getting full. It's half a terabyte. I did buy a terabyte drive for backup, but I really want to put 10 on the terabyte drive.
Right.
So now if I'm going to buy it, I just slap that. Well, how do I do that?
Do you want to keep the other drive running Windows 7? Do you want to make it? Are you saying I want to make a dual boot machine?
It wouldn't hurt, I guess, because, what else am I going to do with it? I already have a terabyte D drive, which is plenty.
PCs, and it sounds like you have an older PC, are kind of funny this way. They boot to the first drive on the SATA bus. It used to be in the old days with IDE, there was a jumper. You could say, this is the C drive. No, this is the C drive. Now they just look at the SATA serialization, I think, and they just go to SATA 0 and they say, well, that's your boot drive. So you can't. What you would end up
giving it to somebody.
No. There's a way to do it. What you want to do is put the terabyte drive on the connector that is currently the Windows 7 drive. You want to swap drive connectors, swap cables.
Okay.
It's just a cable swap.
Okay.
You want it to be on SATA 0. And then install Windows normally on that drive. The new Windows.
And what am I going to boot into when I do that?
And now after you install Windows 10 on that new terabyte drive, you can install a bootloader that will look at, it will go on your master boot record. It will look and will say, I see 2 versions of Windows. Which one do you want to do today? So you can do an after-the-fact bootloader. Yeah, I don't think you have an UEFI machine. Maybe you do. I don't know. You said it was pretty old. Is it BIOS or UEFI?
I forget.
So that's relevant. Out of Sync's pointing out, which is the case that you can tell in the UEFI setup which one to boot from. But the easiest way to do is, I would say, is your main drive is going to be your SATA 0 drive. So put that on there, make that the terabyte, install Windows 10. And when you turn on Windows 10, it'll be there. You'll see the Windows 7 drive is just another drive, a D drive, but you won't be able to boot to it. If you want to boot to it, you can either go into the BIOS settings and boot from it, or the UEFI settings and boot from it, or use a bootloader. And I can't remember which bootloader I was using, but there are good modern.
Now wait a minute. I really want. Then I'm not going to have all my programs and everything on the.
No, you have to reinstall drive. Everything. That's why, in general, if you have that situation, you want to upgrade the Windows 7 in place. Make that Windows 7 be Windows 10, because then all your programs will come with you.
Yeah. Okay. So that I can do easy enough.
Yeah. And then, if you want, when you bought that new drive, you got a license to whatever manufacturer has a cloning tool, which you may have to download from their website, Seagate or Western Digital, whoever you got it from, will have a cloning tool. So then you can clone that Windows 7 drive using their tool or a third-party clone onto the terabyte drive. Now you've got a whole terabyte and you've got a Windows 10, but you're going to lose your Windows 7 because in order to keep all those apps, you have to install on top of Windows 7.
Right. Okay, so I upgrade the 7 drive.
Yep.
And then I just make a clone of it onto
and
my
clone it onto the terabyte
drive.
And that'll be your new drive. Keep the 7 drive as a backup or whatever, yeah.
And I do all this after I disconnect my D drive. I hear that's not a bad idea.
You have a D drive?
Right.
I don't think it matters.
From what I read, some say that's a good idea. It won't get corrupted or anything like that in the process.
Yeah, is your D drive your data? That's where all your documents and stuff are, or is it just a backup?
My files, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could just, if you disconnect it, nothing bad will happen to it.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
And it doesn't
you've
have
answered
to.
my question.
Yeah.
Simple enough. Just going to cost a little money, and I think I'm good to go.
Go to Tom's Hardware and look for their.
Yeah, get the code.
Actually, I searched for how to get Windows 10 for free or under $20. And they have a long article which talks about all the different ways you can upgrade, but the bottom of it is the Kinguin thing, and that's what you want because you're going to buy it. And I have to say, it worked fine for me. Mm-hmm. It's not black market, it's not white market, it's gray market.
Well, the Kinguin CEO says it's not even gray market.
It's completely legit. These are legit.
It's kind of like if you go to TJ Maxx and you buy something from there, if you bought it at the original place, it would have cost more, but it's a TJ Maxx now, so it costs less. That's what they're doing.
Microsoft knows about it. They haven't stopped it. Mm-hmm. So I don't think there can be anything wrong with it.
So
and it's what I'm using right here for my Windows 11 install.
Yeah. Okay, so final time, I'm going to make an image of 7 on my new terabyte drive, just in case. Then I'm going to upgrade. And then when everything's good, I'm going to have to format.
Actually, another thing you could do, one other thing that might actually be better since you want to do that image thing. Instead of doing the image, just use that cloning tool to put your Windows 7 stuff on that terabyte drive. And then upgrade the terabyte drive. Now you have your original Windows 7 drive untouched.
True, yeah.
That makes sense?
Say that again.
Clone the Windows 7
image.
Yeah, so whoever you got the hard drive from, they have a cloning tool. That's just a sector cloner. Or you can use Clonezilla.
Yeah, it's a Samsung. It's a Samsung.
Yeah, Samsung will have some tool. It might even have come on the drive. Because they know people are going to do what you're doing. So you take that old Windows 7 drive, clone it onto the Windows the new terabyte drive. Take that one out and upgrade Windows 10 on that drive. You can always go back to your old Windows 7 setup, identical.
That was the question I meant to ask, if I could do that.
I answered the question you meant to ask.
It's a service we sometimes provide.
Exactly right. Okay, well, thank you very much,
You're very
Leo,
welcome.
and it's back to the move, back to the back.
Oh, I'm so glad you're getting back into your home, though. That's great. That's really great.
It's crazy. Yeah, I'm going from a big apartment to a really smaller apartment, but I'm also going from a large rent to a very small rent.
Awesome.
Excellent. All right.
Enjoy.
Thanks so much.
Let me just real quickly. This is the Windows that I installed. It's still starting up. This is the Windows I installed. I'm running on a Mac. I'm running in Parallels. And let's just see. And I'm using that key that I bought for nothing. And let's just see here. Windows 11 Pro. Go away. I didn't say that. Windows 11 Pro, OS build experience, authorized, product key and activation, active, product key is fine.
Yep, that's all.
Nothing wrong. This is $27, much better than buying a $139 copy of Windows 11, which I probably wouldn't have done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So I know it feels wrong. But it's not.
Yeah. Again, once the CEO described it as like going to an overstock store.
Yeah, it's
and buying
overstock.
something there.
I don't know if that's
not.
Right.
It's no.
Tom's Hardware has a explanation that I think I trust. Look, if I hadn't found it at Tom's Hardware, I wouldn't have done it.
Right. If you just went to Kinguin.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done it. But he already knows Kinguin, and yeah, it's a Polish company. They sell games and stuff, and they're like an overstock.com for software. Mm-hmm. It's clever.
Should we round things out with Father Robert's video?
Oh, we almost forgot. Do we want to take a break before we do that? Boy, genius, smart man, producer.
You almost said it.
Almost said it. Let's take a little break, and then when we come back, Father Robert's going to take us to Vegas, baby. Many people say going to Las Vegas with a priest is a bad idea. I think it's a good idea, especially if that priest is Father Robert. Watch.
Every year, more than 100,000 people flock to Las Vegas, Nevada for a pilgrimage of sorts. This is the center of all things tech, the mecca of tech, the innovation for automation, the sharpest of the cutting edge. If you have a passion for technology, you're here. I'm Father Robert Ballacer, the digital Jesuit, and this is CES. CES is a wonderful hodgepodge of tech that is, tech that could be, and tech that will probably never see the light of day outside of the show floor. But it helps to absorb the show if you focus on the themes or trends rather than the singular products. The first and most obvious of these trends at CES 2024 has got to be the explosion of vendors offering off-grid, grid hybrid, solar, and portable power storage products. From suitcase-sized house-scale inverters with stackable 6 kilowatt-hour modules to solar tie-in units with batteries that can swap between powering your tiny home or any number of portable appliances, to car chargers, to the plethora of man-portable units that do everything from running your gardening tools to your refrigerator. Power products were everywhere, and there were some truly interesting ways to electrify your home, car, and grid. One company that caught my eye was Runhood. A startup based out of the San Francisco Bay Area, they cut their teeth on camping-scale power packs sold on Amazon and have made the jump to home-scale power. Their concept is simple. Get a professionally installed grid tie system deployed in your home, perhaps with a solar array or other off-grid power generation, then daisy chain as many of their 3,600 watt-hour portable units as you need to keep it running. You have instant power for your home in an emergency and easily detached rolling units to take on your next off-grid adventure. What I like about Runhood is that they're small, but they're trying to do it right by using industry-standard connectors and protocols, with interoperability with other vendors' grid tie systems and battery storage units. This is so much better than trying to lock users into proprietary tech that requires large startup and maintenance expenses and have limited flexibility. At about $3,000 a pack, expanding your system is as easy as rolling in and stacking another unit. They are definitely one of the more affordable home-scale units and a great way to start small and add as needed. Another trend is electrified vehicles. Not just cars, but the whole gamut. Cars, vans, boats, trucks, tractor trailers, aircrafts, bikes, motorcycles, skateboards, scooters, and even shoes. They were all over CES last year, but in 2024, they're almost in every hall, not just in the automotive section. Kia has an interesting concept in its PVV, which stands for Platform Beyond Vehicles. It's a minivan-sized frame that is modular, letting you build the vehicle out the way that you need it. Extended height cargo van? Sure. Family passenger vehicle? Why not? Wheelchair accessible, fully autonomous transport? Yep. They're currently working on the PV1, 5, and 7, each larger than the last, so you can customize your drive, from the in-city hopping PV1 to the extended range PV7. Thing is, they also have a rail system that allows you to link vehicles, so adding capabilities might be as easy as borrowing an additional unit that can do what you need it to do. Sounds futuristic, but there's talk of having the PBV move from concept to full production in as little as a year. The third major theme has got to be AI. It's the new smart device, Internet of Things, blockchain, or 3D TV. But I think this trend has legs. You couldn't walk down a row of booths without some vendor proclaiming that they have the perfect use for AI. Some of them were questionable. AI-enabled trash cans and towel dispensers seemed sus, while some were questionable, like the vendor who made AI clones of you that could post and reply on your social media channels for you. Still, for every not great idea, there was at least one interesting application. There were a lot of enterprise-level AI uses, with Amazon really pushing AI integration, but I want to focus on the consumer side, starting with Ballacer. They make a shoe that uses insole sensors to collect 30 different data points while you walk or run. They then use AI to analyze your pace, gait, balance, and step impact, and suggest changes to your movement. It sounds like a small thing, but an AI that could help me to reduce foot or back pain, or help the elderly and disabled to improve their mobility, that's a great use. The final major trend that I saw on the floor is enabled through the combination of the previous three. autonomous and telepresence-controlled resource extraction and construction in a self-contained, remotely deployable ecosystem. That's a technical way of saying robots that generate their own power, build their own infrastructure, extract their own resources, and transport everything with minimal human intervention. Now, this trend has been developing over the last 10 years, with vendors ranging from Tesla to John Deere rolling out products that touted autonomy or remote operation. But this year, Hyundai brought it all together with a vision of vehicles that could be remotely piloted over distance. In our case, a CES attendee piloting a craft in Atlanta. Now, using a combination of AI, telepresence, and electrified everything, Hyundai unveiled a bold concept: seaborne robots that deploy wind farms to generate power used to electrolyze seawater to liberate hydrogen. AI ships that then bring that hydrogen to ports connected to telepresence-controlled hydrogen power plants and vehicles. AI and telepresence vehicles powered by the hydrogen that extract resources in dangerous environments, then AI transport vehicles to ship those resources where needed. It sounds sci-fi, maybe a little Skynet, but we can actually do it now. More importantly, this sort of resource extraction is much more efficient and better for the planet, even if that planet isn't Earth. Wink. Now that's enough of the trends. I know you want to hear about the gadgets, and I want to show you some of them, but that's going to come in part 2. Tech and trends come and go. We've seen a lot of them that just haven't made the cut, from the 3D televisions to the Internet of Things to smart in everything. And yet there is something that's special about a show like CES, where you get to put all those technologies and those trends next to each other. Because when you do that, then you see the ones that are going to last, and you see the ones that have a thread that run through all the emerging technologies. And I think that's what we have at this year's CES. The electrification, be it from vehicles or for the home or for portable devices, is not going away. It's only growing larger. Also, AI, even though, yes, there are some very silly, strange, humorous implementations of AI, is going to be a big part of the next generation of technologies, be it autonomous vehicles or a smart home. Now, you put those together and you've got a trend that is extending further and further into future CESs. And I, for one, will be here to bring it to you. I'm Father Robert Ballacer, the Digital Jesuit, saying goodbye from CES 2024.
And the Digital Jesuit will be in studio with us in just a few minutes with the gadgets. Go spread them out on the table. We're going to have some fun with This Week in Tech. So if you're watching live this Sunday, stay tuned for that. Otherwise, you can download This Week in Tech from twit.tv or your favorite podcaster and see Robert with all of those gadgets. Did you spot a celebrity?
I did spot a celebrity.
Yeah, Stevie Wonder was looking at one of those autonomous vehicles. That's very cool. Little cameo in Father Robert's piece. You should also know that his the second part of his piece we'll make that available, but he also has a YouTube channel. What is it? The Digital Jesuit? Probably. I'll find out for you, and he will put that along with this piece on his YouTube channel, so you can share it and look at it after the fact. Very cool stuff. Thank you, Robert.
Thanks so much.
He braved CES, so we didn't have to. Yep. All right, we're going to continue on. Who's been holding on the longest there?
Well, here's the thing. You have options. You can go with Greg or Guy. I'll let you...
Well, let's start with Greg, and if we have time, we'll get to Guy. How about that? Hello, Greg. Welcome. You're talking to Micah and Leo, the tech guys. Yep, that's you. I hear you. Where are you calling from, Greg?
Burlington, New Jersey.
Nice. There he is in his big old Yeti. He's talking to the wrong side. John's pointing this out, but that's all right. We'll take it.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's fine.
Got the logo facing me.
All right. That's all that matters. So what's up?
Not much. So I looking to upgrade my home streaming, and so I got my Roku Ultra.
Nice.
But I'm looking to...
Whoops! You hit the button. I heard the thunk.
I hit the button.
And
I hit the space bar. The box hit the space bar. But I was looking to also go to Powerline Networking because my router's the next room over.
Yeah.
And I want to go downstairs. Is it any better than Wi-Fi, or is it just kind of
That's actually an interesting question. It's better than Wi-Fi if you have a Wi-Fi hostile environment.
Right.
Powerline networking, which uses the electrical grid in your house, is actually pretty good. It's gotten much better. The version 2.0, you don't sound like you're thrilled with it.
No, because I've seen a lot of people expect more out of it and not get more out of it. And it doesn't, I hesitate to recommend it. It has gotten better, as Leo says, but even now, it requires a lot of insulation and requires a lot of sort of translation of the data that's being sent, because it is going through the power line, and the power line is already doing what it's doing to provide power to two different locations, and so it has to. They
have to put a lot of filters on it,
exactly,
so that its frequencies are separated from what would be just a lot of noise from the electrical grid. My experience with Powerline, I've used Powerline over maybe 100 feet, is it works. It may not even be faster than your Wi-Fi, but if the Wi-Fi isn't reliable.
Exactly. If it's hostile, like you said, then this would be an improvement.
Right.
I would recommend, if you have a home because many a home has been wired in the past for cable television. And the thing that I recommend, and it's something that I use in my own home, is something called MoCA, M-O-C-A. And MoCA adapters, they use that coaxial line to send Ethernet. And so you take one side and you plug it into your router, and then you screw the coaxial cable on the other side, and then it goes to whatever part in your home you need to, and then you screw it into the coaxial port on that side, into the MoCA adapter, and then Ethernet out of that. And it is just as fast as if I had run Ethernet from one place to the other.
And that's nice. In a lot of buildings and houses, they have the rooms are wired for cable TV.
Exactly.
And even if you are using it, MoCA will work. But if you're not, it works even better, right?
Exactly.
There's no interference at all. In effect, somebody put copper in the wall, and you're able to use it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we still have cable, because,
I think MoCA will work around cable.
I think it does. I think you can split it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You just would run a splitter.
All right.
But yeah, Powerline is okay. But as we're saying, especially if you're going to be streaming stuff, you want that better, more robust connection. But if you've not run into issues with Wi-Fi in your home,
that might be fine.
And
the new Wi-Fi 7, we haven't had a chance to try it, but it really does attempt to solve a lot of the Wi-Fi issues we've seen in the past with using multiple frequencies and things like that. So down the road, Wi-Fi 7 may actually make this whole conversation about bad Wi-Fi go away. I'm hoping. Of course, we hear that every time they have a new version of Wi-Fi. But there are some really cool things in Wi-Fi 7. Of course, you'll have to have a Wi-Fi 7 router and Wi-Fi 7 devices to take advantage of that. I'm sure that Roku Ultra is not.
This is 7.
No.
This is probably at least 5 or 6.
It's probably not even 6E. It's probably just 6. That Roku Ultra work much better on Ethernet. All my Roku devices are on Ethernet.
Yeah, because when I was testing it up here, I just hardwired it and it worked really well. And
yeah.
Oh, cool. But,
yeah. Wi-Fi's easy because there's no wires. So see if the Wi-Fi works. It may be more than enough, more than adequate to do what you want to do. If it doesn't, I agree with Micah. MoCA is probably preferable if you have cable in the wall. And if you don't,
we have cable here still.
Then Powerline networking is good too. TP-Link makes fairly inexpensive Powerline networking adapters. Who made your MoCA adapters?
Screen Beam. They used to be called Action Tech. They're now called Screen Beam.
Oh yeah, I remember Action Tech.
And we'll include a link in the show notes to the model that I use. And I'm actually using it. I run from where I have it coming out and Ethernet into a splitter that then has 5 or 6 different ports that I can use. One's for my Apple TV, one is for the PlayStation 5 or whatever that is, and a few other things that we have Ethernet, and they all work so well. Unlike
Powerline networking or even Wi-Fi, it can go up to 2.5 gigabits according to ScreenBeam.
Yep.
That's pretty darn quick. A little more expensive.
Yes.
$135 for the two ends. You do have to have coax in the wall and all that.
Yeah, because I have coax at both ends.
Yeah,
that's what you need. Yeah.
So that's I think that would work. In fact, that'd be the fastest. That'd be as good as wired, right?
Exactly. It's the same. It's essentially the same as using Ethernet cable. That's run all that way.
Yeah, nice. All right.
Thanks
you
for the question.
Hey, great to talk to you. Is it getting cold yet?
It's currently 41 here, so it's
balmy.
It's warm for here.
Yeah,
it's
that's
warm
not
for
bad
here.
at all.
I'm going to be in Providence in Rhode Island actually tomorrow morning, and I guess we're getting snow on Tuesday and snow on Thursday, and it's going to get down to 22 or something. So
we're going to get some snow here, but
yeah, it's going to get chilly.
Yeah.
Hey, have a wonderful day. We thank you for calling.
Yep.
Thanks so much.
Take care, my friend. All right, I said I might get to Guy. Let's get to Guy real quick before we wrap this up.
Oh, but look at that. Is that a bad jacket? The Jets?
Guy.
The Jets.
Is he a Jets fan? Hi, Guy. As they say, or should I? Oh, yeah, we got to bring him in before he can. Do I have to do anything? Did I do everything I need to do? I pressed the buttons that I needed to press.
Yeah, he's coming.
He's coming.
How about that?
Yeah, Guy. Are you in New York?
Actually, I'm in the balmy state of Oklahoma, where it is now 11 degrees.
Ooh.
This Arctic front is terrifying. So how did you come to be a Jets fan?
Well, actually, I'm a thrift store finder, and I found this in the thrift store. And,
nice.
anything around football, I'll grab it.
That's a great one.
That's a nice
classic.
jacket.
It's a Super Bowl.
1968.
Holy cow.
You know who you could probably sell that to for a premium? Gary Vaynerchuk, who's the biggest Jets fan I've ever met. He's determined to buy the Jets, and he's working as hard as he can to make $1 billion so he can. But he tells the story when he was a kid. They had just moved to the United States, and he was kind of an outcast, didn't speak English well, and all the kids had Jets stuff because they were living in New York. His mom hand knitted him a Jets sweater. So it's a really beautiful story. Anyway,
make me cry.
Anyway, so you're not a Jets fan, you're a Sooner fan, but what can we do for you?
You bet. Hey, I do a lot of deployments of computers and everything, and a high amount and everything. So in order to be efficient, I like to do a lot of command lines that will allow me to get computer information, like what printers are being used on networks, what network shared, and these are mostly on Windows computers and everything. So my question is there like a command line feature that I can use? I use WMIC a lot. But I'm kind of wanting to know if there is a command that I could use to inventory information to where I can post it in a text file and everything and have it ready for a new computer.
Oh, I am sure there is, but I don't know what it is. I am sure there is. Are these all managed computers? They all have...
yes.
Yeah. So they definitely are sitting on that network ready and willing to announce what's attached to them. You just have to have the right software. I'm waiting, I'm pausing, I'm stalling because maybe I'm hoping our Discord folks...
Because I'm reading that it was deprecated as of Windows 10.
What?
That's what I'm seeing too, Mike. And I'm kind of getting prepared for Windows 11 when we do migrate to Windows 11. And, I'm just wanting to be efficient as possible. And
right, yeah. So you almost just need a replacement for WMIC whenever the time comes.
MIC KEY. Deprecated as of Windows 10. I'm sure they're going to put something else in.
Superseded by Windows PowerShell for WMI.
Oh, you can use PowerShell, and I'm sure there are people who've written PowerShell scripts that would do this. Wow. Anybody in the and what we need is an IT pro who does this, and if Russell were here, I'm sure he would know. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of articles saying goodbye to WMIC because it's old, right? WMI is still around, so that was what it used, the Windows Management Interface. So what you want to do, okay, so WMI is a PowerShell command. So I think what you want to do can be done pretty simply with PowerShell.
Yeah, I'm reading WMI and CIM together.
Yeah, I mean, you open the command line, and if you type WMI, or you can even get help on WMI, you'll see there's quite a bit of information available to you. It sounds like that's the tool that you you really want. Micah found a good Microsoft article from learn.microsoft.com. Just came out, by the way. Chapter 7, Working with WMI and CIM. These are commandlets that do, I think, the same thing as WMIC.
That's what it's looking like, yep.
The WMI commandlets are deprecated, not available in PowerShell 6 Plus. So you want to use the CIM. So what they did is instead of MIC, they made it CIM, right? Oh, great. But these things will do, I think, everything that you want to do. You know, what you're going to end up doing, I can almost guarantee you, is writing a little batch command in PowerShell that will go out and get everything you want. In fact, look at this right here. This is exactly, this is in, it looks like Visual Basic, but you can go out and you can query the computer on all this stuff. Manufacturer, BIOS, serial number, SMB, BIOS, all of that stuff. So I think this is going to be the tool you want to use for this. But GUI, you would think there'd be a GUI. I'm still stalling.
Well, there would be there would be a situation where our security would prevent me from installing any kind of programs.
That's why PowerShell's nice, right? You could do it over the network, and they wouldn't know. So this article is good. We'll put a link into this article because this has a ton of. You could just copy some of these commands. And
there are even some kind of
all
case studies and examples.
Yeah, query remote computers with CIM commandlets. I'm still running PowerShell as a local admin who's a domain user. You get access denied. So this tells you how you can get around it. You have to, this seems like the exact article you want. This is from Learn PowerShell, which is available at the Microsoft Learn site, learn.microsoft.com, and it's free. Microsoft's pretty good about giving out that information and training, I think. Thank you for the call. I appreciate it, Guy. We are not the... I won't speak for you, Micah. I'm sure you're an IT professional. I am not the best on this kind of stuff because I'm an end user. And same. We even around here we have Russell, our MSP, do most of the heavy lifting. And he's really good at this stuff. Ansible is always a good thing. Thank you, Chocolate Milk Mini Sip, one of our good friends who does do IT. Recommends Ansible, which Ansible is a fantastic tool. I know a lot of people use that to build systems. Maybe you can also use it to query systems.
Could Richard Campbell answer this, maybe?
Richard would have the... You know what? I'll ask on Windows Weekly on Wednesday. What's the replacement for WMIC? KEY.
Exactly.
MOUSE. Why? Because we love you. Thank you so much for being here. It's still time to take the survey.
Yes.
twit.tv/survey24. It runs through the end of the month. We want to get every show represented on there. So as an Ask the Tech Guys listener, I would love it if you'd go to that site. Take you 2 minutes. We do not spy on you. We can't spy on you because we're an RSS feed. And we don't know anything about you. We'd like to know more for our own benefit so we can make sure we're giving you the programming you want, but also it's for our advertisers who want to know. They say even basic things like, well, what's the average age of your listener? What's the gender? And we don't know any of that. So by filling out this survey, you give us the tools that we can tell advertisers, we have college-educated audience or whatever. So please, if you will, twit.tv/survey24. Thank you to our club members who make it all possible, and today especially. You made a big difference in keeping the show on the air. Thank you, Micah Sargent. You'll see Mike on Tech News Weekly this Thursday. He's going to join me Wednesday morning, 10 a.m. for the Samsung event. That's going to be all about AI. I know they're going to announce the S24 and all of that, but I think it's going to be a lot of AI information. I think they want to put AI all over front and center.
Their AI assistant.
Right? Yeah. So that'll be interesting. It's not Bixby anymore. It's the Hulk.
You won't like it when it's angry.
And of course, Micah does iOS Today for our club members of the Rosemary Orchard. Make sure you watch that if you're in the club, and he'll be back, as I will, on Sunday. And as long as I can get in, if I get stranded in Rhode Island, I might have to do it from Mom's house. But I'll do it one way or the other. I'll be here. I promise. What else? Anything else?
I think that covers it.
Email atg@twit.tv. Love it if you leave us a voicemail at 888-724-2884 or record yourself, audio and video, or just audio, and send it in the email. Make sure you start with your first name and city, because we always like to know that. Thank you so much for watching. Stay warm. We'll see you next Sunday for Ask the Tech Guys. Bye-bye.
Hey, we should talk Linux. It's the operating system that runs the internet, a bunch of game consoles, cell phones, and maybe even the machine on your desk. But you already knew all that. What you may not know is that Twit now has a show dedicated to it, the Untitled Linux Show. Whether you're a Linux pro, a burgeoning sysadmin, or just curious what the big deal is, you should join us on the Club Twit Discord every Saturday afternoon for news, analysis, and tips to sharpen your Linux skills. And then make sure you subscribe to the Club Twit exclusive Untitled Linux Show. Wait, you're not a Club Twit member yet? Well, go to twit.tv/clubtwit and sign up. Hope to see you there.